And I believe I am live. Let's just. There we go. Live for 5 seconds. I'm live, Joan. I'm live. I'm live here on Twitter. Let's go to the Pineys. Oh, man. What a week. What a crazy week I had. Ardent says, popping up in early to say I might be late. Don't talk about Sydney Sweeney thing until I get there. All right, we'll try to save that one for you, Ardent. What's coming up? What did I do this week? Okay, so here was my week. I went to the Azalea at Cinnaminson. Had a nice little event there. Then on Friday, and this was pretty interesting, I went to Words Matter Bookstore in Pitman, New Jersey, for a little artist thing on I think it's their third Fridays or fourth Friday event in town. So that's a fun thing. There were people there. But here's what happened. So blazing hot all day. And at the same time, I was getting 2 trees removed from my backyard. But blazing hot. I mean, just, I felt bad for the guys removing my trees. Thanks, by the way, VNR. They did a really great job. But I get to, and I had to leave early. I let my dad supervise. He loves to supervise. And then I went down to the bookstore in Pitman, Words Matter Bookstore. Great place. If you're down near Pitman, check it out. Tell them I sent you. They carry all the Pineys books, like all of them. They don't have 18 yet because I don't even have 18. Although Clint Miller got 18 already, I think. I think he's already read it. Well, I've already read it, but that's different. Anyhow, so I'm sitting in the bookstore, and I, of course, thought it was all about me, but there were 4 other authors there, and I kind of forgot that part of the event. And one of the authors, because it was a little tight in the store for all of us, said, I'm going to set up outside. And I started kicking myself going, I should have set up outside. And actually, the store owner did make that suggestion. And I thought about it, and I was like, it's so blazing hot. Nah, I'll stay inside, because I figured everybody else would be staying inside. I didn't think somebody else would go outside, because that, what would happen. People would have bought the JEC is here. Hi, hi, hi. People would buy a book off the street and then just go their merry way. So I'm thinking, I'm kicking myself. And then the clouds roll in. And I'm like, uh-oh. Now I'm glad I stayed inside. And then the 2 girls working that table, who I guess they wrote a book together, came inside. And it starts pouring, man. And when I mean pouring, somebody opened several fire hoses around us and just started spraying the entire street. The street floods. There's water running everywhere. Not in the store, obviously, but it was a little bit of monsoon for about 20 minutes. And then it stopped like nothing had happened. It was crazy. So I was glad I wasn't outside. But I did have a nice little signing. And then on Saturday, I went down to Bridgeton for the Pirates and Mermaids show. This is at the Dragon Shops down in Bridgeton. What they have is, it's almost like a 24-hour Renaissance fair down there, because, it's pretty cool. So they have a lot of room. They have a bunch of fields, and they have jousting and stages and stuff. And then they have a bunch of shops, and then they have a big open area in the middle where they let vendors come and vend. So they're nice. They're very nice to me. And I went down and I sold some books, and that was pretty cool. But then we were really worried about the weather, and the gnats were out of control that day. But we were really worried about the weather. Ardent's back already. Hello, only a little late. He's doing accents in my chat. Got Aztec Batman on your list? Not really. I thought it was stupid. When it came out as a comic, I looked at it and went, yeah, I'm not interested in that. That's dumb. That's super dumb to me. I mean, I like Batman. I've always been a Batman fan. And Everybody say hi to my girlfriend. She just logged on and is watching. Um, so yeah, I'm not. I don't. We'll talk about Aztec Batman. But anyhow, so Bridgeton was pretty cool, except for the Nats. Ardent, hello equals English hello. French equals Borasera. And I did get some chocolate covered Oreos down in Bridgeton, which was nice. They have like a chocolate shop. They have a shop called Witch Balls, which just made me laugh, and a bunch of other things. Arden says, hello, Tony's woman. But then there was supposed to be a second day today. I didn't go because guess what? The same thing happened today. It just happened late in the day. And if I have a tent, but it's not strong enough for the kind of rain that came down at about, I think it hit at about 3:34. And because in Bridgeton we have to park, as the vendors, we have to park kind of far away. You have to bring the car back in to load out. It's like, yeah, that would have been bad. So I didn't go. I felt bad. I really wanted to go, but. And then Monday I'll be in Brick, so that'll be fun. And then Thursday I'm going to the dentist for the first time in a while. So pray for me. I hate going to the dentist. I hate getting my teeth cleaned because I hate that feeling of the. I hate that. I hate that. I hate the taste of the toothpaste. I hate everything about it. And then of course all this stuff. I'm a bit neurotic. I read stuff online. I read terrible stories about. I read about this story how this one dentist didn't sterilize his instruments. Just didn't care. I guess he threw them into a sink and rinsed them off or something. And one of his patients had something and gave it to all the other patients, and that freaks me out because I'm going to a new dentist, so I'm a little antsy. I finally had a great dentist. My previous dentist was awesome, and now I got a new dentist. I had never even met him. So, the Kraken is here. Release the Kraken, they said, and he arrived. Hello, sitting here working on D&D adventure and listening in. Oh, okay. Some advice. I'm a longtime DM. I enjoy the classics, the kobolds, the orcs. One of the things you could do. Here, I'll give you a little tip. When you have a shape-changing monster, you can really F with the players. Like doppelgangers, right? Doppelgangers, the players always get doppelgangers when you make the doppelganger attack one of the players and replace one of the players. But here's what you do. Have a doppelganger who looks like a really easy monster, like an orc, and the players will think, he's nothing, let's just kill him. And then it turns out he shape changes in the middle of battle. Yeah, that'll mess him up. Have him like tackle one of the party members into like a dark room or something, and then they don't know which one to kill. Yeah, that'll be awesome. Wait, the girlfriend's chiming in. It says, hello, Ardent. Oh, that's nice. Ardent, I don't mind the dentist except when the anesthetic doesn't work and I have to mediate through the pain. Thanks, Ginger Jeans. LOL, currently custom fitting a lightsaber hanger. We're all geeks here. A lightsaber hanger. Interesting. The Kraken, I wish you'd run a campaign. I'd play. You can use online virtual tabletops so you can play with anyone from anywhere. I use Fantasy Grounds Unity. I had no idea. Well, I'm pretty old school and I got a lot of custom rules, so I don't know if that would work for me. And I haven't really played since 3rd edition. I have a copy of 4th edition, which I only bought because I thought I'd be writing some stuff on it, and I don't even know if I cracked the spine on that thing. But I did enjoy 3rd edition. I did get to play a little while I was working for the guys at Kenzer, and we would do Gen Con and what is the other one? Origins and a few of the other big shows. And then after that, the only gaming... Well, then I ran my own game, which is Complete Mafia for D20. Here, I'll show you a copy of it, if I can find it. Let's see. Did I put my name in differently for my book? I did. I put Anthony instead of Tony for the Pineys from Squonkum, and now it's listing me as a separate author. That's interesting. No wonder Amazon is giving me good, what's the name? It's giving me good algorithm return, because I listed my name completely different, and they don't know who I am, I guess. They think I'm a new guy. Where the hell is Complete Mafia? So Complete Mafia was based on D20. There it is. So this is Complete Mafia, out of print. Yeah, I have like one copy left. I've still been trying to sell it at the shows. I got good reviews on it. Unfortunately, Living Room Games did not stay in business for various reasons. I think they're done. Haven't heard from them in ages. The Kraken. I've been playing Castles and Crusaders, which is essentially a Gary Gygax approved rule set. Or what if Gygax had been in charge? It actually is really nice. I typically play AD&D 2E. Yeah, I played a lot of 2E. And Arden got the link. So I finally got it. So yeah, Complete Mafia worked out really good. It has a lot of my custom rules, which I adapted for Complete Mafia. The Kraken. You could port that to Fantasy Grounds and sell it on their store. I'll have to look into that. Sounds like a good idea. I don't know if I technically have all the rights, but screw those guys. I haven't heard from them in years, so I'm sure they wouldn't care if I started selling a few copies here and there. I do have Complete Mafia West Coast, which was the expansion set, which I only released online. That I could probably upload right away, but I guess I could find the PDF of this and upload that one too. It was a pretty good game. I used to run it all the time. I ran it for about 2 years straight, completely. I ran it so often, I started talking like a mafia guy. It was kind of nuts. I began to understand why actors sort of get caught up in their roles. Now, before I get started, I have to warn you, I might have to use Box Office Mojo tonight because the numbers are not working tonight. Yeah, the friggin' database is down for the numbers for some reason. So I have to use Box Office Mojo. But the good news is there's plenty of data on the Fantastic Four. So the Fantastic Four this week did a 218 globally, which was about 1 million more than Superman. So basically it did the exact same as Superman. Superman did slightly better domestically. Overseas, it did only 95 million. It should have done more. Like, I think the total was maybe it was 212. I want to say 217, but maybe it was 212. Well, I'm on this friggin' website. Let me see what Superman did. Superman. Yeah, so Superman, did 125 and 95. Actually, did it do a little better? I think it did a little better on its opening weekend. Yeah, because that would be 2.5. That would be 220. Did almost 220. So anyhow, it's about the same. It's about the same. Fantastic Four, but for the Fantastic Four, the big, payday will be next week. Superman has had great legs, just amazing legs, steady, and throughout the week, people want to go see Superman. And, I can't say it was a bad movie. It just has a lot of problems. Yeah, it's at $500 million now, which is kind of what I predicted. I think it'll, let's see, this weekend would have been the 50 million. I don't have the regular listing, so I can't even tell. So it did 125 the first week, and then now it's at 289. So yeah, I think next week is the $25 million week. It'll do 25 million worldwide because I think it'll be its third week. Let's see, 1, 2. Oh, this is by day. So this is the release date, 56 million. So that was on the 11th. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, it'll be its fourth week. So 25. 25 next week. Ardit, I bought a pair of dueling capable lightsabers a month ago or so, and finally got a hanger last week, but the opening to allow the blade to hang vertically was too small, so I had to cut plastic gasket to shrink the opening about 1.5 mm, about a 32nd of an inch. Or as you put it, a 30th of an inch. Oops. I am a geek, but I have virtually no geek stuff. I mean, I have some. The only stuff I tend to collect, geek-wise, is I collect stuff that I worked on. So you could see in the background I've got a lot of Simpsons stuff, but I only collected that because I worked on it. So I felt like, oh, I could collect that. I don't look like an idiot. And I felt like 32nd? Yeah, I think so. So, you know, I feel like you need to have, like, if you work on something, you're writing it, you want to have some of the accoutrements around, just kind of have the vibe of it in the room while you're working on it. So I have some old Simpsons plushies, and got a bunch of Simpsons guides and comics and whatnot. Although I sold all the comics I worked on. Sold them good. Oh, man. I wish I had a few more boxes of those. Phew. Those sold. They were easy to sell. Man, the last time I sold Simpsons comics, I went to the Boardwalk in Wildwood. They had a Simpsons pop-up store, and I just blew through all of them. I sold them for $5 a pop. And it sucks, too, because had I known I would have had access to a Simpsons pop-up store, I would have bought boxes and boxes of those damn comics. I'd have gone there every weekend. Because, man, I sold Pineys stuff, too, and the guy loves me. He wanted me to come back, but there's nothing to sign. And I can't really sell I mean, I can sell Piney stuff there. I'll go sell it, but it's kind of hard to explain when you're at a Simpsons pop-up store. Yeah, I worked on The Simpsons, but here's my cool stuff. It's weird and awkward. But anyhow, getting back to the box office, I think I would call it a tie. I mean, at this point. Yeah, here's Friday. Superman did 56 million, and Fantastic Four did 57. Less than $1 million difference. Saturday, Superman did 37 million, and like a half. Fantastic Four did 33, and then 31 million on Sunday. Fantastic Four's estimated to do about 27, 28. So it's a tie, ladies and gentlemen. I would call that a tie, statistically speaking. But next week separates the movies, the men from the boys, as they say. If this thing drops by more than 54%, Superman will win. If it drops by less than 54%, then Fantastic Four wins. I think it'll probably be about the same. I mean, but I give the edge to Superman. Ardent, I rearranged my studio and have a new ad to film after this. Got all my designs up on Redbubble now. I'll link it. Some of it's approaching not safe for work, though. All right. Yeah, I'm not going to click it then because I got flagged a couple of weeks ago when I started looking at the John Mulaney stand-up, and I got demonetized on the live stream. But I'll look at it. I'll look at it later. But, you know, I'd encourage all of you to check out our store. Um, so, yeah, I mean, I think the Fantastic Four, what I've heard is a lot of mixed reviews. Like, a lot of the fanboys who review this stuff on a regular basis, they're really torn up about this movie. Like, they really wanted to like it, especially Doomcock. Like, he really wanted to like this movie. Ardent, LOL, that sucks, and thanks. Um, so yeah, he basically says he can't. And Gary at Neurotic, he gave it a no, mainly because of female Silver Surfer. Doomcock actually kind of liked the Silver Surfer, female Silver Surfer, but he had a lot of other problems. He thought Ben Grimm was a little too subdued, and everybody was just kind of, you know, cast wrong, which I would agree with. Pedro Pascal, my thinking is if Pedro had just been more of a sport about it, or rather if the corporate guys who probably told him, no, don't shave your mustache, we want you to look like Pedro Pascal, I think that was a huge mistake. Now, Pedro came out with an article about his mustache saying that he shaved it for Wonder Woman 1984 and it was a disaster. And I can understand that bad association, but, you know, you're an actor, shave your damn mustache if you want to play a character that has a look and is already an established look. They should have shaved his mustache and given him more of Reed's haircut and his gray temples to make him older. Doomcock also said Sue Storm is not the same personality, just like Ben Grimm, that she tends to lead towards being very much a leader in the team, although she's not officially the leader. It's obvious she's leading things, and that's just not the way the comic was. The comic, it was clear Reed Richards led the team because he was the brains behind the operation. The other three members of the Fantastic Four have all sorts of issues that would lead them not to be good leaders. Ben Grimm is a bit of a hothead. He's kind of bitter about what happens to him after he gets superpowers. Johnny Storm and Sue are kind of on the ship when it all goes down. It's one of those kinds of stories back in the 60s. They're just along for the ride, and they get superpowers. But Johnny's sort of like a, you know, he's not a teenager, but he's kind of acts like one. He's kind of a goofy kid and runs around and plays pranks on people and has a good time. And his sister is like head over heels in love with Reed Richards, who's an older guy, and you know, that sort of scans. Like when Jack Kirby wrote that, nobody looked at that and said, a woman falling in love with an older guy? That's crazy. Like nobody would say that, even though Reed was clearly older than Sue, right? She was clearly like, you know, hot young mama who falls in love with the older professor type. And in fact, they do a flashback when Reed Richards is in college and Sue Storm is like a little kid. Yeah. So and that's like where he meets Doctor Doom and stuff. And no one said boo about it. JEC, Sue Storm had a personality? Yeah, her personality was built around her man. Her personality was she was in love with Reed. The end. That was her personality. And she didn't want to be a superhero. She basically wanted to be a housewife. She was more traditional. But she gets caught up in it because she's part of the deal with Reed. And then she becomes a superhero. And she, you know, I don't mean to paint her as a bad character. She's a pretty good character, the way she was originally envisioned. But she definitely wasn't the leader. She's like, kind of like, Reed, what are we going to do? Kind of character. And you might say that's not fair to women, but like the comic didn't represent women. Like it's not meant to represent women. It's not meant to represent men. These were just their characters. You know, I mean, Johnny's not a good leader. Ben's not a good leader in the comic. They clearly would be terrible at it. Both of them. They're also constantly fighting like two little brothers. So that was the dynamic. It was like two brothers, and like Reed being the responsible one, and Sue kind of being the mothering type who was there for support, which, you know, you can say they're not good characters, but you can't say they're not grounded in reality. They were. So now we've got, you know, Sue Storm is like a strong, independent woman. Well, but that's not her character. She was kind of in the background. That's why she was the invisible woman. Like, do you see the metaphor there? Like, she didn't want to be in the forefront. She would get freaked out and turn invisible so she could avoid that. That's why she was the invisible woman. Reed was always in the forefront, doing all the talking and doing all the science. Ben was always in the, you know, the big orange guy. He was always in the forefront, but he didn't want to be, because everybody, at first they liked him, but sometimes they hated him. Like the kids thought he was cool, but like the adults thought he was scary. And Johnny, he loved the ladies. And they apparently come in to a little bit of that during this movie, but not enough. And quite frankly, the whole enterprise feels very mid to me, which is actually a step up for the current Disney. I mean, I thought it would be a dumpster fire. Mid is actually an improvement. So the fact that the movie's mid actually means Disney is maybe trying to turn this around, but I don't think they're going to turn it around, itchy, in time to save the superhero genre. It's just going away, because they're going to have to cut the money back at some point. And the money, you know, blowing $200 million on a visual spectacular, you know, you can only get so much mileage out of that. And everybody agrees the look of this movie is outstanding. Like, people just love the look. Sorry, I'm not used to using this damn website. I'm so pissed the numbers isn't loading up. Still not loading. So, where'd it go? There it is. Here, I'll go to this one. So, I mean, look at that. That looks cool. It looks super cool. It looks just like Johnny Storm in the comics. He's made of fire. Oh, thank you, Hollywood Reporter. They've got the whole box office here. Oh, God, I was looking all over for this. Thank you. I never thought I'd say thank you to the Hollywood Reporter. All right. So there we get Superman. It's number 2. Made, and this is just domestic. I don't think we have anything else. No, we'll have to deal with this. So Superman did 24 million. So next week, or 25 million essentially, which means it did about another 25 in international, which means it did about 50 this weekend. So next weekend, it'll do about 50, both domestic and international. The weekend after that, about 12. So the next 2 weeks, it'll make another 100 million. It'll get to 600. Might just squeak over to 680, which some people calculate as the absolute minimum it needs to break even. I, again, would disagree with that. I think you're overestimating certain things. I think you're forgetting that they're going to play fast and loose with these books. They actually are making money. I think they're making money already. I think we just can't see it. So, number 3, Jurassic Park, or Jurassic World, whatever the F it is, Rebirth. I hate this franchise, as you all know. 13 million. I'm not sure what week this is, so not as much info at the Hollywood Reporter, ironically. So I think this movie's about a week ahead of Superman. So number 4 is F1, the movie. I've heard great things about this. It did 6.2 million. So, I'm not a sports guy for movies, so it's not really my thing. I think the gearheads all go see it. You know, the Fast and Furious crowd, they'll go see it. Anything with cars, people love to go see it. Number 5 is Smurfs. 5.4 million, really? That might be the second week for this movie. I don't know why people are seeing Smurfs at all. I mean, it's a cartoon, it's like animated and live action, but I'm not sure if that's making its money. My guess is no. I know what you did last summer. This is money in the bank because they didn't spend a lot of money on this film at all. I think it was less than 20 million just to shoot, and it made 23 million already domestically, 5.1 million this week. It's not a super expensive movie. There's not a lot of effects. There's a few. And Jennifer Love Hewitt, I mean, I can't believe people made fun of her for being fat. She's an older woman now. You know, she's in her 40s, I think. This movie was 20 years ago. She's not going to look the same. I mean, she could lose the weight, don't get me wrong. But she didn't look bad. She looked okay. People were like blasting her for her weight. Like, the person you need to blast for her weight is Lena Dunham. Lena Dunham, and I'm going to pull up a picture, so brace yourselves, because Lena Dunham looks like one of those chicks in a trailer park somewhere. She's enormous. Look at this picture. What did you steal a tent outside and put it on? Look at her arms. She just does not look good. She looks bad. She looks very unhealthy. Very unhealthy. That is like, yeah, there's a comparison. Ardent. Jennifer Love Hewitt has some gorgeous curves. Dunham deserves to be criticized for the things far worse than her weight. That is true. But I'm just saying, somebody's got to say to her, you know, this is unhealthy. Here it is. Jennifer Love Hewitt. Not sure. Yeah, this is the recent one. I mean, she's heavy. Don't get me wrong. She's a little too chunky, but she's, you know, holding together. It's not a complete disaster. I mean, I think she should probably lose a little weight too, but it's not a disaster over here. Lena Dunham looks like it. If you told me Lena Dunham had a heart attack tomorrow, I'd be like, yep. Ardent, please put up a pic of Jennifer Love Hewitt to cleanse our palates. But I think the reason they got on Jennifer Love Hewitt so much is because, you know, her whole career was based on her looks, basically. Ardent, Kirstie Alley was a sexy, heavy girl too, up to a point. Yeah, and I think Kirstie Alley was more talented. Like, she did comedy, and that's hard to do. And she was pretty funny. She had a pretty decent career. Jennifer Love Hewitt, you know, she was eye candy back in the day. I mean, that's her back in the day. But, you know, nothing lasts forever. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? All right, where's that article? Okay. Number 7, How to Train Your Dragon, 2.8 million. I don't know why anybody would go to see this, but there you go. Number 8 is Eddington. 1.6 million. I believe this is the second week for Eddington. I'm almost sure. No, that's still not up. Let me see Box Office Mojo. This is... When did it premiere? Wasn't this week, was it? Release date, July 18th. And this is 2 weeks later. So, dropping by 62%, 1.6 million. I mean, the basic problem with this movie is I don't think anybody wants to relive the COVID years yet. Not like this. I mean, you make a movie in which a character who looks suspiciously like Fauci gets taken down. I think people might go see that. I might go see that. Oh, Dr. I don't know, you call him Pouchy. Dr. Pouchy, there's an angry mob here to see you. Oh my God, they're breaking in. Run, Dr. Pouchy, run. And then there's like a big car chase and he goes off a cliff and, you know, the car bursts into flames. I think some people would see that. But, yeah, nobody wants to relive the COVID years, I don't think. I would say. So that's one problem with it. Second problem is it's got Pedro Pascal in it too. Somebody made a joke video online. It was like, hey, you want to go see a movie? Would you like to go see a Pedro Pascal movie? And he points to The Materialist, which is another movie he's in. Then he swings the camera over to the Fantastic Four. How about a Pedro Pascal movie? Or how about this Pedro Pascal movie? And then he hits Eddington. And it's like he's in 3 movies that are current. And then there's one that's coming up he's in. That's too much. He's wildly overexposed. Is he dying? Is Hollywood trying to get him in as many things as possible before he dies? I mean, what's going on? Are there no other actors in Hollywood willing to, you know, grow a cheesy mustache and pretend like they're support everything Southern California supports? Ardent. Dr. Beaglefly. Yeah. Yeah, for what Fauci did to beagles alone ought to get him prosecuted. That's no bueno. Number 9 appears to be a Bollywood film. I'm going to try to pronounce this. Sayara? Sayara? I have no idea what that is. Might have to check it out. Let's see. Let's go to the IMDb. See if the IMDb has heard of it. Ah, no. What are you doing? I don't want that. Not supposed to show me that. You're supposed to show me. There it is. God. All right. Looks like a love story directed by Mohit Suri. Vanny and Krish have to navigate a life, their problems, their insecurities, and hopefully realize that only love can be the answer to everything. Looks very intense. She's cute, though. I guess he's a musician? So, it's fun to watch these. I like to watch some of the Indian trailers because I have no idea what they're saying, but it's the same damn movie you've seen like a million times. So, I would put the sound on because you wouldn't understand a word, I think, but most of these movies aren't in English. Yeah, he's a musician. Okay. So this is like, oh, there's a white guy in the mix there. This is like kind of the perfect Indian movie because it gives you a perfect excuse to do the dance numbers and the singing. They love to put singing and dance numbers into their movies. They really do. They're in almost every movie. Oh, she sings too. Okay. Yeah, so there's a lot going on with that. I mean, I can understand that making a little bit of money. But it's the 9th hottest movie in the United States, according to this. 1.2 million. It's pretty good. I mean, I'm sure it ran in India already, or is running in India. So I'm sure it already made its money back. But it's only in, oh man, it's only in 215 theaters. And it made 1.2 million. That's pretty good. For 215 theaters, that's pretty awesome. I mean, look at Eddington. Eddington is in 2,000 theaters, and it only made 1.6 million. The Indian movies only in a tenth and almost made the same amount of money. That's pretty good. That's got legs. That means that Indian people are jamming in theaters to see this thing. I assume there's probably a subtitled version here too. Number 10 is Oh Hi from Sony Pictures Classic. 1.1 million. Oh Hi. What the hell is this? Am I lost my damn mind? Did I find an alternate a listing of movies from an alternate universe? What the hell is Oh Hi? Oh, apparently it just came out. Oh Hi. Iris and Isaac's first romantic weekend getaway goes awry in the most unexpected way. That's a weird title. She's a no pressure, super chill kind of girl. Okay. So they're doing a little bondage thing. And he's cooking for her. And they're having a good time, and she ties him up, and then why does she... Oh, they get into an argument after he's tied up? Well, that's dumb. And she won't untie him. No, dumb. Just untie him, lady, you weirdo. What kind of movie is this? Ardent, is Oh Hi a sequel to The Room? Oh hi, Mark. Oh, maybe that's it. She won't untie him? Is she going to kill him? What the hell kind of movie is it? Love Gets Crazy. Oh, that's pretty crazy. You going to let him poop in the bed, too? I mean, everybody forgets about the pooping in a movie. You just cut to 3 days later and he's not been out of that bed and be pooping it. Let's be honest. I know. I'm always thinking about the poop. Number 11, The Home. Again, where are these movies coming from? These must be all new. The Home. Is this like a home like, oh, wow, this looks evil. Oh, wait. Pete Davidson, I did see this trailer. Follows Max, who realizes the residents and caretakers of the retirement home he started working at hide sinister secrets. Yeah, and then they force him into the home and mess with him. He's only supposed to clean up, but then he uncovers a terrible secret. Ardent, LOL, never forget the poop, people. Secret to the universe. That's right. Yeah, this looks a little messed up. I mean, for me, it is because I've been working in a lot of homes recently, doing my Jersey Devil talk. And most of them are pretty nice, I got to say. Surprisingly nice. But once in a while, I get one and I go, ooh, I wouldn't want to spend my final days here. But I had a really bad impression of those kinds of places before. Now my impression is slightly better because some of them have their own theaters. Like I went into one the other day. This is the one in Cinnaminson. They had their own theater, and that's where I performed my Jersey Devil talk. They had a 50s diner. And when I say they had a 50s diner, it was really nice and open. It looked like a 50s diner. And that's where I guess they have their meals. They play music. Their movie theater where I performed had movie posters of the various movies that they would show. And they showed all movies from like the 70s. Unfortunately, I looked at them and I went, wait a minute, I know some of these movies. Oh, boy. So they had Star Wars, Saturday Night Fever, and one other from the 70s. And I thought, man, I must be getting old. Nah, that can't be it. But it was a really nice place. I mean, and the people seemed, a lot of them were using walkers and stuff, but many of them weren't, and some of them, they weren't trapped in the home. They would leave and go places, apparently. So, but, yeah, that sounds awful to die in a home under any circumstances. I mean, I saw that movie, The Rule of Jenny Penn. That was messed up. This looks like similar, in mess-upitude. See that word? I just made it up. So it did $1 million. Pete Davidson, though, I don't think he can carry a movie. Not a horror movie. Maybe a comedy if they give him a decent comedy. Number 12 is Elio. I don't even know why this movie's still out, but it's just shy of $1 million. $957K. Lilo and Stitch is practically doing the same amount. It's in fewer theaters, and it's been out for weeks. 28 years later, somehow still making money, $500,000. Sorry, Baby, 400K. That's that, isn't that the Coen Brothers thing, I think? Or is that, am I thinking of something else? I might be thinking of something else. Yeah, I'm thinking of something else. I'm not, I forget what this is about. Something bad happened to Agnes, but life goes on for everyone around her, at least. Yeah, this is a sad movie. I was thinking of a different one. Ardent, nursing homes are going to be great when Gen X starts to dominate them. Open bars, smoking sections, D&D games. Sounds baller to me. Yeah, there won't be smoking, because that's very unhealthy, and they want them to live. But there are already these places have bars. I've been in a lot of them. They all have bars. And they keep them plied pretty good. So I went to one. They said, when you do your talk, we're going to have a wine tasting for Jersey Devil wine from Valenzano Winery down here. And so they brought in a bunch of Jersey Devil wine. Everybody had a glass of wine, cheese and stuff. It was pretty nice. Pretty nice. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't get into homes that nice. It's got to cost a GD fortune to live there. Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning, still knocking around, 385K. House of Eden? House of Eden. Man, there's a lot of films I don't know today. Maybe because this is a different list. I don't know. House of Eden. Which one was this? Setting out to film the next paranormal investigation, Chris, Selena, and Jay encounter a malevolent ancient spirit that resides in an abandoned house deep in the woods. So, Blair Witch again. Okay. Chris Collins. I don't know. It's the same old, same old. Nose Ring. That screams youth. All right. They find a bunch of creepy stuff, and then horrible things begin to happen. Blah, blah, blah. Anybody could write this damn movie. Number 18. Oh, this has got to be a anime. Harry Hara Vera Malu, Part 1, Sword versus Spirit. Did 256K. Thunderbolts is 19. Still kicking around 155K. And there it is, the other Pedro Pascal movie, Materialist, 126K. That didn't do too well. That looked awful. It's got Dakota Johnson in it, Pedro Pascal, and I forget who else. That looked awful. Let me check the numbers one last time. Thanks a lot, the numbers. I don't know why this site keeps going. Every once in a while, this site just dies on me for Sunday. Great. This would have been a key weekend to look at the box office, the numbers. And Box Office Mojo just isn't detailed like the same way. I have to click too many things to get the info I want, but just take a quick peek at, let's see, let's look at worldwide. No, see, they just group things differently. Here's the weekend. So, all right. Oh, here we go. Took a while to get to this. All right, I figured it out. I finally figured it out. So who was in week 2? Smurfs. Okay, Smurfs dropped by 51.2. So that was less than Superman. Ardent, isn't Thunderbolts already streaming? Probably is. I Know What You Did Last Summer. That was in its second week. It dropped 60%. Let's see if it has the budget over here. No. But it's done 45 already. I think that's more than enough to make that money. Who else was in their second week? So I think Hollywood Reporter basically had the same list. No, this is a little different. Number 19 on this list was Mithrigan 2.0, 81,000. Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight, 61,000. The Phoenician Scheme, 55,000. Shoshana, that's another new one. It's only in 56 theaters, 44,000. Should we look at Shoshana and see what the hell it's about? Let's just take a quick peek. In this edge-of-your-seat thriller, a British police officer and a Jewish woman fall in love amidst the political turmoil of the 1930s Tel Aviv. Then there's Cloud, which I saw a little bit about. And here's another one. I can't even pronounce this. Made $18,000. Disciana Nove? A curious student embarks on a journey of self-discovery, learning that the path, no matter how unfamiliar or daunting, is worthwhile. That seems a bit obtuse. And the last one is AJ Goes to the Dog Park. I like the title. When AJ loses his favorite dog park, he must fight, fish, scrap, scrape, and sap to get it back. Is this animated? AJ Goes to the Dog Park. Sounds like a comedy. No, it appears to be live action. There he is with his dogs. Looks like a very odd movie to me. Ardent, last I looked, Thunderbolts was supposed to start streaming on the 25th. They must have delayed it to milk theaters. At least it looks like a comedy. Toby Jones, writer and director. Is he the main character too? I'm guessing he is. No. No budget comedy. Oh, I'd go see this. Looks kind of fun. Ardent, sounds like a rom-com. I don't think it is. I don't know. It doesn't look bad. I mean, it's got like kind of a hipster vibe to it. Ardent doesn't look like one, though. No, I don't think it is. AJ Goes to the Dog Park. All right. Maybe. Something interesting. All right. So that's about it for the box office. That's about all I can discern. But I think the Fantastic Four and Superman are about dead even. But I think the thing is, Superman, although more important to Warner Brothers than the Fantastic Four is to Disney, Disney has had a lot of stinkers. And the Fantastic Four, and they just spend way too much money on their films. Superman, I mean, they say it comes in at $225. I kind of don't believe it. I just straight up don't believe it. It doesn't look like it costs that much money. You know, the effects aren't that great in Superman. They're okay. They're like passable. But there's so much going on in this film. Like, I mean, what did they spend the money on? Costuming people? I just don't see it. Fantastic Four, though, looks like they spent a ton of money. I mean, I don't know what the budget was. I mean, it's got to, like, the Fantastic Four looks like they spent $200 million. Superman doesn't look like they spent $200 million. I think they maybe spent $100 million and said they spent $200 million so they could write it off on their taxes. But that's just my theory. All right. Let's get into the trades because the numbers just isn't coming up today. All right. Looking at Variety, Fantastic Four lifts off with $118 million. Meh. Gwyneth Paltrow is astronomers' temporary spokesperson after CEO HR chief resigned following the Coldplay Kiss Cam scandal. And I also saw an article saying that the CEO is now going to sue Coldplay over the Kiss Cam. I don't really see what is he going to say exactly. Like, oh, I was just living my life out in public with my mistress at a Coldplay concert, which clearly had a kiss cam, I assume, in a stadium full of people, and I was shocked to find out that I was on the kiss cam. I don't think you should have been that shocked. I mean, it was unfortunate for you, but I don't think you really should have been out in public with your mistress like that. Ardent, one thing that really irks me about the whole look at the FF is the pale blue costuming, especially the Thing's outfit. It kind of doesn't bother me. I mean, I would have liked to have seen where's the article now? Oh, I don't have a picture of the Thing over here. I guess what I wanted to see in the Fantastic Four, I can't find a better picture, is oh, here it is. It's down here. Like, I don't like this white part here. I wanted to see the full blue bodysuit, if anything. And I didn't want to see anything on the Thing. I think they did that to cheap out, so they wouldn't have to animate his chest, or however they did the Rocky part of him. Because that's the way it looks in the comics, right? He just wears a little like bikini bottom or whatever. Once in a while. Did he even have a shirt on? I don't even think Ben Grimm ever wore a shirt. So, I think it was a cop-out, but, JC, oh no, the consequences of my own actions. Damn you, Coldplay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm going to sue Coldplay because I can't have a private moment with just me and my mistress. What the hell? What the hell kind of America is this? I thought this was America. If anybody, though, should lose her job, should be that HR woman. Oh, what do? I do HR. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's great. Who you dating? I'm dating my married boss. And I'm also cheating on my own husband. Ardent. Well, I mean, Coldplay deserves to be damned, but that's more musical critique than social commentary. Yeah, I don't think Coldplay should be responsible for swinging the kiss cam around. If you don't want to be on the kiss cam, don't go to a concert. Simple as. So, I don't know why they hired Gwyneth Paltrow. Well, our CEO has been caught in a scandal. Quick, hire Gwyneth Paltrow. That ought to make everybody forget. Why? Well, because she's terrible, and everybody will be talking about how terrible she is in her vagina candle. I mean, is that the thinking? Ardent. Music playlist on the elevator to hell, Coldplay and Nickelback. JC, who's going to stop her? HR? Ardent, Lamau. Lamau indeed. The whole thing just... It just smacks of people with too much money. Right? You got too much money. You're the CEO. Yeah, my HR person. I'll bang her. Yeah, she's got lots of money too. Yeah, she didn't care. We'll both have an affair. Like, how full of yourself do you have to be to not only cheat on your wife with another married woman, but to go out in public? Like, I don't condone cheating at all. I think cheating is really bad. I have my own reasons for that. I think a lot of you would probably agree with me. Nobody likes to be cheated on. But if you're gonna do it, you're supposed to be a little ashamed. You're supposed to okay, meet me at the hotel, use a fake name, wear a hood, hide yourself so nobody knows you're banging outside your marriage. You don't go to a Coldplay concert. You're not even supposed to go out in public, really. Just supposed to get together and have sex once in a while. Oh no, I'm gonna have a whole new relationship. Yeah, why don't you just get married? Oh, turns out you're both already married. We can't do this. Oh, I thought this was America. It's like, why'd you get married? So you could cheat and go out with other women? Just stay single, you moron. JEC, isn't she married to the lead singer of Coldplay? Who, Gwyneth Paltrow is? I have no idea. Let me see. There it is, Gwyneth Paltrow. Daughter of Bruce Paltrow. Early life and education. This is the one good thing for Wikipedia. They are pretty good at celebrity stuff. It's usually, because usually it's their publicist doing this. I mean, it's not going to be a lot of negative stuff. Personal life. In 2014, Paltrow, whose father was Jewish, was planning to convert to Judaism. In December 2024, she revealed that she celebrates Hanukkah each year with her family. So, did she do it or not? It doesn't say. Oh, relationships and marriages. I'm reading the first paragraph, and here it is. 2014, Paltrow began dating producer Brad Falchuk, met on the set of Glee. Their marriage. Okay, so she's married to Brad Falchuk, this dude. So he is not the lead singer of Coldplay. But she used to bang the Coldplay guy. Oh yeah, here it is. Chris Martin. They did get married in 2003. Had a son. And then split in 2014. Ardent, they split a while back, I think, JEC. Ardent, you don't bang your coworkers. JEC, is this whole thing a PR stunt involving a hostile takeover of a company by Coldplay? And you also spelled it hostile, like a place you sleep in when you're in a weird town and you're a college student. It's hostile, like it's not a hostile takeover like you're taking over a bad hotel full of college students and German tourists. It's hostile like you're doing it. But that's a funny bit. I like that bit. Coldplay. Turns out Coldplay is terrible at music, but great at taking over companies. Why is Coldplay on tour again? Well, they own every stadium across the United States, it turns out. They did it in a hostile takeover somehow, and now we have to have Coldplay tour. It's in our charter. We can't do anything about it. They own the stadiums. They'd be like, that's kind of like Death Clock, right? The most successful metal band that ever lived. I think in the cartoon they had like the 4th largest economy in the world. Ardent, didn't Paltrow name her daughter Apple? Friggin' Looney Tune. She did. LOL, having my work taken over by Coldplay would be a horror show to me. Oh no, the company was taken over by Coldplay. And then immediately the Coldplay music starts playing through the speakers where you work. Ah, crap. I think the Coldplay merger went through. That'd be hilarious. Oh, God. Coldplay. I couldn't name a Coldplay song. I have no idea. Happy Gilmore 2 cameo guide. Every actor, comedian, pro golfer, and more who show up in Adam Sandler's sequel. Now, a handful of people are saying this movie's pretty good. I can't imagine it's good. I saw the trailer, but then again, I'm not a huge fan of Adam Sandler. The only movie I could say I really I like the clips from the first Happy Gilmore. I've never even seen the whole movie. Do I like any of his movies? I started watching the movie where he plays the guy with the gems, uncut gems, is it called, or something? I couldn't get through it. I kind of got bored and tuned out. I can't watch The Longest Yard remake. I love the original Longest Yard. That movie's a classic. I don't know why you would remake it. With Adam Sandler, of all people. Oh, gosh. I can't even think of a movie I've seen all the way through with Adam Sandler. I think I watched 10 minutes of that dreadful Drew Barrymore movie where she has amnesia and he has to keep having a first date with her and meeting her because he's in love with her and she keeps forgetting him. It's just ridiculous. Some of the movies he's made are just god awful. But that being said, I got respect for the dude. I don't think he's a bad person. I wish he'd get better scripts. I think I could write him a good script. In fact, I did write him a good script. I wrote him a great script, actually. We were trying to make it work, but unfortunately, our director passed away from cancer, and then this was a while back. So the whole project kind of fell apart. Ardent, they show up and paint the whole place yellow. I don't get the reference. JC, Punch Drunk Love is okay. I remember that movie, but I didn't see it. Oh, I know which one I liked. What's the one where he basically plays a version of himself, like a super famous comedian, and he's like banging chicks and just being a celebrity a-hole. That's not Punch Drunk Love, is it? That's a different movie. That one's okay, for part of it anyway. Ardent, Don't Mess with the Zohan. That's the one I like. I like that one a lot. Was decent. Sandler could have gone into action comedy after that. Yeah, that one was pretty good. I like that one. And I especially love Rob Schneider in it. He's very funny in that. Ardent, I liked Little Nicky, but it was the other actors that made that flick work. Yellow is the only Coldplay song I know. JC, Adam Sandler plays himself in everything. I don't mind that. That's a good idea if you can't really act all that well, and if you have a personality that people generally like. And I think people generally like him. I kind of like Adam Sandler, even though I don't like most of his movies. Like, he seems like a normal guy. He's trying to make people laugh. I just wish his scripts were better. But what are you gonna do? I like the idea of Happy Gilmore more than I like the movie itself. I mean, I've seen everybody's seen a million clips of Happy Gilmore, so I'd have to watch the movie and then go back and watch the second one. I don't know if I would like it. I suspect I wouldn't. But now here's the latest headline from Obvious Land. Jay Leno says the late night host alienate half the audience with political jokes, cozying up to one side. I don't think anybody wants to hear a lecture. Ardent, I suspect Sandler, like Norm Macdonald, would be funnier in conversation. Yes. And I just think probably Adam has so much money and is offered so many scripts, like, he doesn't care. He kind of is checked out. Like, he doesn't have the real desire. I think his desire to make money was bigger than his desire to make a good film. Like, he's just worth so much money. Let's see how much he's worth. He's got to be worth, I got to say, at least $500 million. If he's not a billionaire, I wouldn't be surprised if he was. He's got to be worth a fortune. Adam Sandler net worth $440 million. Yeah. JC, little late for this kind of feedback, Jay. Where the hell were you? Someone get Jay a comb, will you? That's pretty funny. Yeah, really. Where the hell were you, Jay Leno? Although he did take care of his wife. And did she die? I I forget if she died or not, but she was in a bad way. But yeah, he was caught up in that. I would say he does kind of have an excuse. Ardent playing with his cars. Yeah, it's a shame though. His wife was in a rough situation. Ardent, I think more important question is when Jay Leno dies, does every other Italian gain a half inch of chin? That's not the way it works, Ardent. That's not the way it works. But yeah, Adam Sandler strikes me as the sort of guy that he's got too much money. Like he's worth 440 million, and he's probably been pissing it away. I would have suspected he was worth a lot more actually, but he's probably been he strikes me as the kind of guy who just does cool stuff with his money, and probably is very generous. I don't know why. He just strikes me that way, and you know, and he kind of doesn't know what to do with it at this point. I mean, that's a lot of money. In his defense, I'm not sure I would know what to do with that kind of money. And then it's like, you have so much money, like the only thing valuable to you at that point is your time, right? Because you only got so much time on this earth. Like he never has to work again. Like he could close up shop and just go on vacation for the rest of his life if he wanted to. But that eventually would be boring. And then, you know, I'm sure he's done that during parts of his life, maybe gone on vacation for like 6 months, and then by the end of it, it's just like, I can't do this anymore. I got to go make a movie or something. You know, it must be hard at some point to find meaning in your life when you're this successful, right? Like, what do you do? What do you do? Like me, I would have all kinds of plans, but I'm not successful, right? Not like him. I would like to be that successful. But like once you get there, it's kind of like, well, I did like he's done what a comedian, like most comedians will never rise to this level. Ardent, Sandler has elf. Oh, sorry. Sandler has F money. F it money. I thought you wrote elf it money. Sandler has F it money and acts like it. He's a great guy to his friends though. He's cool for that. Yeah, it seems that way. I've heard, I think I told my Rob Schneider story, which I heard, which I don't know if I'm supposed to tell, but it's friggin' hilarious. JC, he would go on vacation while he filmed his movies. That's why so many of them are set in Hawaii. Oh, yeah, he's not the only guy to do that. There's a lot of celebrities that do that. That's part of their deal. That's the only reason they do it. The one story I heard was Brian Dennehy. Remember when he was big? They were shooting the sequel to FX, right? You remember the movie FX? It was about a guy who was an FX specialist on a movie, and he has to like, I don't know, some guys are trying to kill him or something, so he uses his special effects powers to like thwart the bad guys. So then they made a sequel because the first movie's pretty good, but the sequel kind of falls apart. But the plot of the sequel is these guys steal these rare coins from the Vatican or some museum somewhere. And so the FX guy somehow gets involved. I forget the whole plot, but Brian Dennehy's in it. And at the end of the movie, they go to Italy to return them to the Vatican. So they just go into the church and they put them in the, the collection plate. So they go back to the Vatican so they could do it anonymously. And the interview with Brian Dennehy said the only reason he did the sequel, he doesn't like to do sequels, is because they promised me a free trip to Italy. So he got to go to Italy, spend weeks there, shooting one scene, and then he brought his whole family and I assume went on an awesome vacation. Ardent, I remember the FX movies, not well, but I did see them. Yeah, I saw both of them too. I couldn't tell you one bit in the movie. Yeah. But yeah, like, even, okay, so then, like, when you have this much money, you got to try to make your life as simple and as easy as possible. But you got all this money, so you got to keep track of it. And then you got people asking you favors every 10 seconds, I'm sure. So, like, the best thing to do is just say, okay, I'll do the movie, but you got to shoot it in Hawaii so me and my family could spend like 3 months in Hawaii, and then my wife will shut up and the kids will have fun. And but at the same time, like, he's so rich, it's not like his kids will ever have to work if he leaves them any kind of money. They'll just have to manage his estate when he goes. And, you know, if they're going to school, he'll just hire some tutors. So I just can't imagine what it's like, though. He can, and he's probably done, you know, all the things you get when you get money, right? Like, you know, go to the most expensive restaurant in the world. Okay, done that. Go on some crazy vacation to Fiji for a month. Yep, he could do that. Probably already did it. It's like you could do all this stuff. You could just do it all. I remember Bruce Willis for his high school reunion. This was obviously before he, you know, fell ill. He took his entire high school class to, I think, the Barbados for the week, a week or two or something like that, paid for the whole thing. And then part of the trip, they came back and ended up in Atlantic City. And the rumor was Bruce was just everybody was gambling, and Bruce was just walking around with black chips, and he was just dumping like $1,000 on top of people's bets. Like you would be playing blackjack for like $20, and Bruce would come over and just drop $1,000 on top of your bet, so you could win, you know, more money. That's kind of cool. I mean, I like those stories. I hope they're true. The Kraken. Yeah, if he wants to visit the pyramids with near absolute security, he can just shoot a movie in Egypt and invite all his friends. Then he can have his entire organization descend upon the Giza Plateau. Yeah, that would be a place. That would be something I would do, because I like archaeology and stuff. But then again, I also like, you know, good movies. So, like, you get offered all this money, you can go to Egypt, but the script is terrible, right? Like, the script is some stupid movie. Like, yeah, what do you do? Say no? Say no to money and a free trip? It's kind of why these guys, I think, end up doing such terrible movies. After a while, they just throw up their hands and say, I don't give a F. I just want my life to be easy. So, God, 444 million. It's probably not that much, but if it's anywhere close, it's damn lot of money. But getting back to Jay, yeah, nobody wants to hear a lecture, Jay. Okay, now we got to talk about something I just ranted about for a half hour in a video. Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Did I have a picture? You don't have a picture in this article? You can watch the trailer yourself. It's got Holly Hunter and Paul Giamatti in it for some reason. The Kraken, he can do a funny version of Indiana Jones. Mississippi Mike or something, LOL. Yeah, that would be fun. A parody of Indiana Jones. Have they done that? I'm sure they have. They must have done one. But they could do that. But what is not funny at all is this effing Star Trek Starfleet Academy trailer. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen. And that's saying something, considering how bad Star Trek has just fallen. I mean, it's bad. It is like, why are you doing this bad? Now you're just being mean bad. Ardent, I saw an image of a female Jem Hadar earlier today. That was from the Academy BS. Total cannon break. Yep. 100%. It looks like the actress they picked looks like Stacey Abrams, right? She's a big, heavy-set black woman. Obviously, underneath all that makeup. What the F are you doing? A Jem Hadar, for those of you who have never seen Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Jem Hadar is supposed to be genetically engineered, basically cannon fodder. They're just mindless, almost mindless soldiers to just kill people, and they're genetically engineered. So basically, they're probably sexless. But they've got one on the show, like, oh, she joined the Federation and now she's a strong, independent Jem'Hadar. Like, what the F are you doing? Yeah, total cannon break. The Kraken. Weird Al did a parody sketch in his movie UHF. That's the only thing I can think of. JC, wasn't Kingdom of the Crystal Skull a parody? Ha ha. Yeah, should have been. The Kraken smiles at JEC. Ardent, I think she might be the same chick who played the TVA agent Black Lady. Probably. JEC. Didn't they cast Stacey Abrams as the leader of the Federation? Yeah, they cast her as the president of the Federation. The Earth president, I guess you would say. That's why I said Stacey Abrams. That was another embarrassing moment for the Star Trek franchise. But this is getting up there. I mean, it's brutally bad. And that Paul Giamatti, does he have monetary trouble? I mean, like, what's Paul Giamatti is such a good actor. I don't know why he keeps doing these roles. I don't know why he did the Rhino. That was a dumb move on his part. The Rhino? Dude. What kind of serious actor signs up for the Rhino in... I just don't get it. So, he's in other movies where he's very good, and then he signs up for these movies, and I go, what? He signs up for Star Trek Starfleet Academy? What? To do television? JC, what is their obsession with Stacey Adams? They keep trying to make her a thing. She's never going to be a thing. It's very strange. I agree. She's lost, I believe, every election she's been in. But they think if they just keep pushing her, eventually we're all going to go, well, I guess we got to let her be governor of Georgia, I guess. Like, just because people know your name doesn't mean you get to do anything. I mean, at a certain point, you're so annoying and so bad, people just know. JC, they told him he'd get a free trip to space. And Paul Giamatti. I just don't get it. And here's the best part of it. The series takes place in the 32nd century after the events of Star Trek Discovery. So that, first off, ought to be wiped from the face of the Star Trek canon. But it's not. With Starfleet relaunching the titular educational institution outside of San Francisco after Federation absence on Earth for more than 120 years. What are you even doing? What are you even doing? What kind of canon is that? Okay. You came back to San Francisco. Did you leave because all the poop on the streets? I mean, I assume it's still there because, you know, progressives run San Francisco and progressives run Star Trek these days. So I assume you all are cool with it. I lost my damn mind in the video about this. It's still pissing me off. Anybody who showed up to Hall H to see this crap and didn't boo, you are no Trekkie. You will not live long and prosper. You are probably some fat, woke-tard moron who would like anything that with the Star Trek logo on it. I just don't know how you could like this. I really don't. It's kind of infuriating to see. Personally, I think they need to shut the entire franchise down for at least 20 years, just like Star Wars. Shut it down for 20 years. Wait until every cast member who's ever been in this show has died. You know, the good show, not the current show. Nobody cares about those people. Nobody will remember them. You know, same thing with Star Wars. Wait until the rest of the cast dies off. Keep it out of theaters. Keep it off of TV. And then relaunch the whole damn thing 20 years later. If you really want to fix it. I have a sneaking suspicion you just want to keep squeezing money out of it Okay. Until we hate it. I mean, I'm on the verge of hating it. I still love the old series, and I do like Deep Space Nine. I like some of the Next Generation stuff, but that's about it. Everything else I would throw in the trash. Just throw it in the trash. Be done with it. Star Wars, it's the first 3 movies and nothing. I don't like anything that came after it. I don't like the prequels. Screw the prequels. You can try to sell me on Andor. Good luck. Just throw it all away and stop trying to sell me on this crap. So, it's literally just IPs being trotted out again and again. It's just infuriating. I can't talk about it anymore. Let's just move on. Let's just move on and hope that the whole thing loses them even more money. Because it should. Oh, here was the big controversy this week. So, Trump was on South Park and they made fun of him. To which I say, so what? I don't know. Some people got bent out of shape. They said, oh, yeah, South Park, it's only making fun of Trump. They never made fun of Biden or Kamala or Obama. Like, that's not really true. They did make fun of Obama. They made fun of Michelle. They didn't make fun of Biden, though. But I think the reasoning behind that was it's kind of not that funny to make fun of Biden. He's so pathetic and weak. And that at that point, they were getting out of politics. I think probably wisely. JC, bruh, the South Park movie was 26 years ago. Yeah, and it was good. I like the South Park show. I watched the clips of this. It's a callback to the South Park movie, actually. So, nobody cares. I mean, not the South Park fans, certainly. The Kraken. Biden is sad, not funny. Yeah, it's kind of like, you can make fun of him, but even at the height of his power, it was kind of like kicking an old man down the stairs. Like, it's just not that funny. There are other things. So I don't see that as like they're super liberal. They've never been like super liberal. So making fun of Trump is more about Trump inserting himself into every effing news story that you can't ignore him. I mean, that's just the way Trump is. He is the media. He is the zeitgeist. He's a whirlwind, and either, you can't not mention him. He impacts everything. He's around. JC, they literally redid their old material from a quarter of a century ago. It's a callback, dude. Repetition is the staple of comedy. If you want to make something funnier, do it again. Just do it bigger. So instead of it being Saddam Hussein, they made it Trump. The Kraken. Always Sunny is like that too. They make fun of everything. Yeah, although they did this really weird episode where they reveal Mac is gay, and it was a very strange episode. They've got a little bit of politics, but for the most, I forgive them too. But I haven't watched the show in years simply because I don't watch TV anymore. So I don't care. I don't care at all. And the people crying about it, I would say it's a TV show. It's a comedy show. You don't have to watch it. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. To anyone, I would say, if you don't like any of this stuff, don't watch it. Take my advice. I am a lot happier not watching some of these movies and TV shows. I really am. These guys who go, oh, this is going to be a bad movie, I'm going to go see it. Why? Don't see it. Don't see it. You can talk about it and not see it. You can complain about it and not see it. You can absolutely do that. As long as you tell me you didn't see it, that's fine. From what I've saw of the clips, how many times have I said that on this stream? I didn't see it. I didn't see the Fantastic Four. A lot of people seem to like it. A lot of people have mixed feelings about it. The nerds kind of don't like it. I don't think I would like it. I'm not seeing it. I don't want to give Disney my money and encourage them to make more. If everybody was loving it, look, when the Marvel movies came out, I was a tough sell. But everybody was telling me, you got to see this. And I said, all right, I'll go see one. And then I was like, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. I'm on board. And I stayed on board for a while until they started to suck. That's the way you got to be. You got to be a little discerning. You know? I'll watch South Park. I don't care. I'm not paying for Paramount Plus or whatever, but I'll wait until it's on South Park Studios for free. If you're going to make it impossible for me to see stuff for free or on regular TV, I don't have time to buy Paramount and watch it. It's not that important to me anymore. Back in the day when I had a day job and just, wasted all my time and work all day and then come home and be like, half in a stupor. Yeah, I needed TV. But I had cable TV. I had 100 channels. All of it sucked, and I'd watch something. Watch something with dinner. Now it's not that way anymore. Now you got to pay for everything. You got to pay for everything. Pay. Okay. See where that model takes you. Where it's taking us back to is eventually you're going to have internet TV where they play all this stuff for free, and they just play commercials on it you can't skip. That's what they should have done. But they don't want to do that because streaming made a mint, and they're going to milk this until everybody goes, you know what? F streaming. And a lot of people are saying that. Remember when they all cut the cord? Eventually they're going to be like, F streaming. I'm not going to stream anything. And then they'll go after the pirating sites again because everybody will be pirating stuff. And then eventually let's just put it on the internet for free and put commercials on it and no one can skip. I'm fine with that, by the way. If you want to put something on your streaming service and you put 3 commercials in it and I can't skip them, I'm fine with that. Just do me a favor and keep the volume the same as the movie or the TV show. That would be my only request. The trick is what they do is they increase the volume on the commercials. And the reason they do that is because they know people kind of tune out when they're watching TV or movies and they're doing stuff. When suddenly the volume kicks up, they turn towards the TV and go, whoa, that's louder. Now they're watching your commercial. I would say don't do that, and I'm fine with it. Otherwise, I'm going to do what everybody else is going to do and do everything in my power to avoid your commercial. But, they're still a few years away from that. I think they'll eventually go back to it. But the Trump fans that are crying over this, I don't know. I think it's mostly an AstroTurf fight. Try to get Trump fans to fight each other. What else? Oh, no. I didn't know this guy died. This was Tom Lehrer. He was a satirist. He wrote these wacky songs about politics that most people didn't listen to. But he's kind of fun. Kind of a cool guy. Oh, wow. 97. That's a pretty good run. That's a pretty damn good run. Godspeed. Poor Tom. I did not know. I guess he just died. He must have just died yesterday. Boys, season 5, first footage, a supernatural reunion. I don't care about this show anymore. I liked the comic when it came out. I watched the first season of the show, and then it started to my spidey senses started to tingle, and I said, is this show going woke? And then started to see the signs and hear the complaints, and I said, you know what? I don't need to see this. Got better things to do. Coyote versus Acme is going to be released 2026. I'm not sure why, but there was a hard-fought battle to get this thing to the screen. Ardent, yeah, the last week was pretty rough for celebrity deaths. Malcolm Jamal Warner, yep. Chuck Mangione, Hulk Hogan, and Ozzy. Ouch. Yeah. Malcolm Jamal was one of the worst ones because, Ozzy, he lived a full life, let's be honest. And he got to say goodbye. Hulk Hogan was a bit shocking, but the guy was no spring chicken. He was 71, probably taking steroids half his life. Chuck Mangione, he was up there. He was in his 80s, but Malcolm Jamal Warner was 54, and he was on vacation in Costa Rica, got caught in a riptide, and basically drowned. And they couldn't get him out of the water in time and couldn't revive him. And there was a doctor right there. So that's a real tragedy. I mean, at least the other guys, you know, it was just their time. But Malcolm Jamal, like, you go on vacation and then you die. Ardent, and wrestling is brutal on your body. Yeah, there's that too. Although he was not the kind of wrestler that really, like Cactus Jack, that guy, he did some stuff, right? He reminds me of the wrestler character from Mickey Rourke movie. You know, he was bloodied up quite a bit. Like, Hulk Hogan didn't do that bloody stuff all that much, but sure, he was jumping around and throwing himself. But this movie, Coyote versus Acme, weirdly was not going to be released. Like, the word was it's so bad Warner Brothers won't release it. And I've never been a big fan of the cartoon with live action stuff. I thought it worked in Roger Rabbit, and that's about it. So I don't really have a tremendous amount of confidence in Will Forte. He's very hit or miss, mostly miss for me. Like MacGruber, he's okay. Like the MacGruber bit was kind of funny. I really had high hopes for The Last Man on Earth, but that show quickly betrayed its own premise and added more characters. Although at first it looked like they were only going to add women, which would have been funny because he was the last man on Earth, right? So that kind of could have been a good bit where, like, they just keep adding women characters and all the other men are dead and he's literally the last man on Earth. And then as more women are added, like, it keeps changing their dynamic and he has to keep dealing with it. Like, you could have made that work, but yeah, they just kept adding people to the show, and I was just like, how many more people are you going to add to the show? JC, Hogan was having spin surgery and things went south. What the hell is spin surgery? That doesn't sound good. But he wasn't having the surgery when he died. Spin surgery. What the hell is spin surgery? Let me look it up real quick. Spine surgery? Spinal surgery. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's always dicey. That's always dicey. If you could possibly avoid it, the last thing you should do in this world is have spinal surgery. I've heard nothing but complaints from people who've had it. One of the things Howard Stern said on his show many years ago, like, Stern was thinking about getting spinal surgery for years because he had bad back, I don't know, from stooping over the control panel in his radio show or whatever. And then he had some sponsor on who was a doctor, and he basically explained to him that the spine is one of the, basically it's just one of the strongest, if not the strongest muscle in your body. And there's a lot of pain associated with it for some people, but the moment you start messing around down there with your vertebrae and stuff, it's a very dicey situation. I mean, there was a big scandal years ago where they would get screws put into their spine to try to, I don't know, keep things together with their vertebrae and stuff, and then the pieces would break off and they would get worse. So yeah, I'm a big proponent of, like, you don't want to get surgery unless you absolutely have to do it. Ardent, LOL, yeah, Terry Funk and Mick Foley really got rough on themselves. Yeah, I met Mick Foley a couple times. He seemed to be a nice guy. His politics are weird. JC Hogan did the leg drop as a finisher. 300-pound guys bumping on the base of their spine every match for 25 years. Effed his back up. Uh, yeah. Sorry, I looked up spin surgery like I thought it was a thing. JC, he was recovering from surgery and his body couldn't take it. Stern just needed to get in shape. Apparently. But, yeah, it's a shame. So we lost a lot of people this week. And the only upside is they won't have to go see Acme versus Coyote. Or Coyote versus Acme. Because I don't think Will Forte, not great. Not great. Like, not funny. Like, he's okay, I guess, as the friend character in a comedy movie, but that's about as high as I wouldn't put him in the lead of anything. He was in that dog movie where Will Ferrell's the dog and a bunch of other famous actors are other dogs, and he plays his owner. And he's kind of like just perfect for that role because it's kind of like a one-note role, and he's there and he delivers. But as a lead, I say no. So anyhow, this movie was completed in 2023 and it was shelved with a $30 million budget, but now it's coming out. So this was right around the Batgirl thing. The Batgirl thing, I think you'll never see it, but they did do this Scoob Holiday Haunt cartoon, and I'm not sure why they shelved it. Could it be so insufferably woke they were embarrassed by it? I don't know. JC, Will Forte and that unfunny Asian woman, they tried to make a thing like 3 years ago. Is that Aquafina? That's not Aquafina, is it? Let's go to the IMDb. There it is. All right. John Cena, who cares? Lana Condor? I've never heard of this woman. What has she been in? Kind of cute. Kind of cute. Worth the wait. Valiant One. Abbott Elementary. That's why they're releasing this. Abbott Elementary is considered a big hit. Moonshot. That movie didn't do. Oh, BoJack Horseman. Oh, okay. That was kind of a big deal for a short time. Alita Battle Angel. X-Men Apocalypse. Oh, she was Jubilee. JC, I guess that's her. A different Asian girl. Yeah. Yeah, she kind of has some cred. John Cena, though, why is he in it? And why does he get top billing? Will Forte. Do they list who does the voice of the Coyote? Or are these all the live action? Jeff Bergman does Bugs Bunny. Tucker Hawkey does the Roadrunner. Does the Coyote not say anything in this? I guess not. I mean, typically he doesn't talk, but sometimes he makes noises like that. I think he did talk though. He did talk in one of the cartoons because that was the cartoon where he goes, "Wile E. Coyote, super genius." Let's see. Do I have another notification here? No. She probably won't. This is JEC. She probably won't try and rap. Give her points on that alone. Yeah. As long as you don't rap, like Aquafina. God. All right. Over Fandom Pulse. He's putting everything behind a paywall, so I don't know how much longer I'll be using Fandom Pulse on here, but he likes Happy Gilmore too. He called it based with masculine messaging. I guess. I mean, I don't think that necessarily going to make it a good movie, but maybe. Star Trek panels reveal another Kurtzman-led disaster in Starfleet Academy. Okay, so this is a Kurtzman deal. He's trying to stay in, I guess, the mix for Star Trek. So he's hoping this will be a hit. I can't imagine this show would appeal to anybody. Again, Star Trek is more of a male-dominated kind of IP. If you watch the trailer, it's completely aimed at women. It's total soap opera, total relationships, all that crap. But women don't like the outside of Star Trek, but they would like the elements within it, within this Star Trek anyway. But that's why you make, the shows about relationships. You wrap them in female sort of indicators, so women go, "Oh, that looks like a good show." When women see Star Trek on TV, they go, "Oh, it's Star Trek. I'm not really into that geek stuff." I mean, am I wrong on that? And I'm not talking about the geek girls. Obviously, the geek girls, they'll gravitate towards it, but they're not a lot of them. Most women are not going to like science fiction. They just don't like it. They associate it with the actual good science fiction that was out like 30 years ago and or longer. And now, how many times are you going to try to make women, you're going to make women watch Star Trek, so you keep making it more and more for a female audience until it's not Star Trek anymore. Just go make a soap opera that takes place in space. And you have everybody screwing over each other, everybody's drama and nonsense, and you put it all in a show that women would like. I have nothing against that. What I have against this is that you've taken a show that's normally aimed at men and you keep redefining it as if you're trying to force women to watch it and force men to get on board with this insane agenda. It just doesn't work. This is why you're destroying the IP. It's destroyed. Okay? Yes, you will get some people, because there are some people that are just so weak and fat and stupid, they'll just watch anything. And unfortunately, a lot of them are still in the fandom. Their momentum just took them into that fandom, and that's their social circle. So they can't, go to their D&D session or, their woke D&D session without talking about Star Trek Starfleet Academy, because they're all going to watch it and you want to be part of the group, so you're going to watch it. And rather than say, "No, I don't watch that show, it's stupid," they're going to say, "Oh, it wasn't too bad." At some point, you got to just give up the ghost. And they will eventually, and that's the sad thing about it. There'll be a handful of fans left, and they'll just pull the plug on this thing. It may be happening much sooner than later. Finally, I give it another 2 years. They'll probably cancel this show after 1 or 2 seasons tops. And then, hopefully, Skydance, which just merged with Paramount, will fire everybody and say, "Okay, we're going to do Star Trek the way it's supposed to be, hopefully, mostly for men. If some women watch it, fine." I don't think my girlfriend's watching anymore. She just asked, "Am I done?" What time is it? Is it late? Not yet. Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 3, Episode 3 went full Walking Dead. I don't care. Wouldn't watch that show on a bet. It also went full woke when you did a musical number. Now what are you doing? You're just parroting Star Trek? I mean, Star Trek, in some ways, Star Trek Strange New Worlds is more embarrassing than Star Trek Discovery, if you can imagine. Because at least Star Trek Discovery, as woke as it was kind of its own thing. I mean, it's woke Star Trek, that's for sure, but at least it was kind of its own thing. This is like, do you even have an identity of what this show was? You just seem to be willing to change it like that. Oh, well, nobody's watching this. All right, change it. Now it's a detective show. Or now it's The Walking Dead. Now it's a musical. Like, what? It sounds like the same sort of desperation they applied to the BBC's Doctor Who. Oh, nobody's watching this clown. Oh, let's pretend like everybody's homophobic. Ardent, you're on for another 90, usually. Sorry, Tony's woman. Well, we'll see. I don't think she's watching at this point. She's just asking if I'm still going on. Ardent, LOL, they're trying to choose a name for the next Trek series, which shows the adventures of Kirk's Enterprise. Nobody tell them. Yeah, imagine that. Imagine being that out of it. Where do you work? Oh, I work for Star Trek. Yeah, we're developing a new show, and Captain Kirk will be recast, but we don't know what to call the show. Do you know? Hold on. Sorry, I get messages. We'll call you after. Yeah, so it's a disaster. I can't talk about Star Trek anymore. It makes me too upset. Brandon Cornwell's Dynasty of Storms, a hidden indie fantasy gem. Anybody wants to check that out? Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere RPG is littered with social justice and radical gender ideology. So heads up about that, I guess. This week, there were lots of articles about Pedro Pascal and he touches women. Well, me to him. Oh, wait, you like him. So, no, we can't me to him now. So make up your friggin' mind. This is the problem with having Hollywood, being in charge of everything. They're terrible at this. They're just terrible at enforcing the rules. They want to be super liberal, and I actually was talking about this today. I did improv for like 15 years, and I was in various groups. And one time, and mostly I was in the same group, but like it changed. There were a lot of cast changes over the years, so they were really different groups. But one time, the group got into an argument over what we were going to change the name of the group to. We felt like enough people had gone in and out of the group, we needed to change the name. So we had a discussion, and every week we would get together and do our rehearsal, but then spend some time talking about the name change. And after 2 years, we kept the exact same name because we couldn't agree on anything. And you might say, well, that's just your group, whatever. No, it's kind of the collective mentality when you have a group of people together, a group of creatives who think you can run everything like a hippie collective, right? It's just like, oh, everybody will do their part and it'll all work out. Well, that's fine until it doesn't work out. And then when somebody has to take responsibility or have to do something that's important to the show or the group or whatever, and they drop the ball, there's no accountability because nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do the unfun stuff you have to do, for instance, to run a business or to run a group that, like one of the things we had to do, and we were terrible at it because nobody wanted to do it, was advertise our shows and tell people where we were performing and get them to come out. And this was kind of before the internet became a good place for that. We would do it, but nobody local would really key in on the internet when we were performing. So it was always a disaster. And that's part of the mentality that permeates Hollywood. This idea of like, yeah, everybody does their own thing, man. It's all cool because we're all going to do their own thing. But there comes a time in Hollywood especially where the business part matters. And half these people just collapse like a house of cards. You know, when the business guys comes in and say, hey, we don't like these characters being this way. Completely change them. And those people just go, yep, sir. Okay, we'll change them. Without any regard for the creative impact that's going to have, right? So that's why everything's woke. Most of these people are like that. Like, oh, you want it all woke now so we can get this ESG money? Sure, we'll make them all woke. Everyone woke. And we'll punish people who don't listen to us. The other half are more like, you know, total hypocrites, right? They were totally willing to persecute people over Me Too allegations, the flimsiest of Me Too allegations in some cases. But now you got Pedro Pascal manhandling a pregnant woman at a premiere and no one says boo to him? I mean, it's pretty bad when article after article starts coming out saying, what's up with Pedro Pascal? Why is he so touchy-feely? You know, and why is nobody saying, hey, you're a weirdo, stop it, or, you know, something. Instead, they're trying to normalize it like, oh, he has anxiety and that's why he touches his co-star. His co-star's married, having a baby with another man. Like, I don't think he should be manhandling her on stage. Like, it's different if he does that in the movie. They're married in the movie, and I get it, and I've said this a million times. Co-stars often, like, fool around or, you know, they get a little too friendly. It's part of being an actor and an actress. Depends on if your spouse is cool with, you know, some of that. If you're single, who cares? But in this case, though, Pedro Pascal is single, I believe, and she is married. But the rumor is, some say that Pedro might be gay, and therefore it's okay. I guess it's still a little weird and odd and off-putting. And this is part of the disconnect between Hollywood and normal people. Normal people look at that and go, what's he doing? Like, you know, they're not making a judgment. They're just looking at a guy touching this other woman, his coworker, and getting really inappropriate, in my opinion. And then, like, no one says anything to him. Meanwhile, Aziz Ansari almost got his career destroyed because he went on a date with a girl who he was, I think, dating. And she put out an article about the date. And the reaction from everybody was, so what? Like, she put out this article, like, can you imagine? He was dating me and he wanted to have sex with me. And people, the reaction was like, yeah, that's generally what guys do on dates. They want to have sex with you. And, like, the thing she described in the article didn't seem in the least bit unusual or weird or stalkerish or anything like that. And yet, that impacted his career pretty negatively. He's finally coming out with a film, an upcoming film. This is that Good Fortune film where he writes and directs. I've missed him, but he had a show on Netflix at the time called Master of None. He disappeared from the show after that scandal, and his career really took a hit, in my opinion. Pedro Pascal, because he's an A-lister, because they got too much money and movies riding on this guy, not a peep. Sorry, I'm ranting. It's just my opinion. Clint Miller's here. Sorry I'm late. Can't find any Robert J. Pineys Piney sauce anywhere. Well, if you want to find Robert J. Piney's Piney sauce, what you really need to do is you need to get book 18 of the Pineys, which I'll get to in a minute. There it is. And you could find an ad for Robert J. Piney's Piney sauce on the back. There's Robert J. Piney there. And as you can see, it's made with real pine needles. It's barbecue sauce. It is delicious. And you can put it on your meat. So more of this is explained in book 18 of the Pineys. So just wanted to make sure that's clear. Ardent. Hey, Clint. How is ya? Ardent, I have anxiety is a great excuse for being creepy. Clint, pretty good. Ardent, saw your Craven review. Ardent, Clint Miller, thanks. What'd you think? Clint, I haven't seen the movie. My exposure to Craven is mid-late 1980s, so my impression of Craven differs from Hollywoke version. At least you saw some good in it. Ardent at Clint, I did. The stunt work was really nice, in my opinion. I can imagine. I can imagine. Anyhow, where the hell was I? Oh, right. Pedro Pascal. Just kind of sick of him in general. Maybe the reason so many movies are coming out with him in it, they're trying to dump them all before they Me Too him right out of Hollywood. I don't know. But Fandom Pulse also keeps covering the Science Fiction Writers Association, I don't know what you'd call it, a breakdown. Press release exposes how the Sci-Fi Social Club accomplishes nothing. Yeah, they seem to be super woke in the fandom these days. I would just start a new one. That's what Fandom Pulse guy John should do. Probably should just start a new group. Just start a new group. Oh, and Resident Alien got canceled after its 4th season. So, there's that bit of news. All right, moving on. The Hollywood Reporter, best 25 horror movies of the 21st century ranked. Should I look at this? All right, we'll take a quick look. $25 bones and all. I'm out. I'm out off of this list. There's no way that should be on the list. Come on. You're just picking that because Timothée Chalamet's in it, and it's the Hollywood Reporter, in my opinion. So, forget it. Forget it. Forget it. I was going to go through the list, but forget it. JC, JDA has a long-time feud with SFWA. That's what I'm sensing. He should just start his own group. Rick and Morty creator Dan Harmon on season 8 and tinkering and fans pushing for more than from the multiverse. I don't care anymore. Again, you know, it's another Me Too guy is Justin Roiland, and he may be up to some shenanigans, but again, they didn't prove anything. He was never convicted of anything. I think it was an over response to completely kick him off his own show. Now, if they wanted to reduce his role and he only does the voices and that's it, I'd have been mostly okay with that. But I don't know. It felt like the whole thing was some sort of power move to get him out of the catbird seat or something. So now he's off his own show, and you're just doing. Not only are they continuing to do Rick and Morty, they're doing a spin-off show called President Curtis, based on Keith David's president character. It's very strange. Who was really just a parody of Obama, I guess. JC, skip to number 1. All right, I'll see what number 1 is. I'll guess at number 1. If it's not The Exorcist, I'll punch my screen. Us. Oh my God, you put Us on the list? Come on. Under the Skin? Are you out of your mind? That wasn't even a good movie. That wasn't even a good movie. Punch. Yeah, I saw it because Scarlett Johansson was in it, and I thought, maybe she'll be a little naked in this. I don't think she was. Maybe in one scene, but yeah. This is not a good movie. It's kind of boring. It is slow as F in some places. I mean, it's kind of an interesting premise, but... Ardent, 25 best horror movies starts with Chalamet? Wow! Do they even have Leprechaun in the Hood, bro? JC, Fandom Pulse's JDA's attempt at starting his own thing, but he keeps getting canceled. Horror movies of the 21st century. Oh, right. The Exorcist, well, okay. So it's only, yeah, 21st century. Okay, so it has to be everything from the 2000s on. I mean, still, though, Under the Skin, I wouldn't have put it on the list at all. Ardent, Under the Skin, Gooner list confirmed. She was very naked in one scene. Was she? I don't know. It was a very boring movie. Get Out. I wouldn't even consider that a horror movie. Let the Right One In. Okay, that one deserves to be on the list. That was really good. That was really good. The Babadook, that was also really good. Yeah, I would put that on the list. I would have put that maybe as number one. The Host, didn't see that. 28 Days Later, would you even consider that a horror movie? Train to Busan, that was awesome. That should be number one. There's your number one. If we're going to foreign films, Pan's Labyrinth, not really a horror movie, but kind of. The Conjuring, maybe on the list. Hereditary. The Witch, oh, that was really good. Man, they go back and forth. Some really good ones, and some I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you even picking these? Ardent, zombies are horror. I know, but 28, it's not a very scary movie. George Lucas makes his Comic-Con debut, unveils first look at his Temple in the People's Art Museum. Is that why he's doing it? I don't know what that is. I still haven't seen Train to Busan. Ah, you're missing out. That is an awesome zombie movie. And then you got to see Peninsula right after it. Because Peninsula has the most wild scene in zombie history. Is that car chase through a zombie-infested, I guess it's Seoul, Korea. Dude, you got to see. You have to see it. It's bonkers. Train to Busan is bonkers, man. The South Koreans know what they're doing. Lucas was joined on stage by Guillermo del Toro and production designer Doug Chiang, with all three bolstering the case on how narrative art, which includes comic book art, needs to be uplifted and celebrated. So I guess he's building a museum. Ardent. Sounds like Hollywood guys wanking each other over how very cool they are. The Museum of the People's Art thing. Yeah. So did everybody just keep asking him about Luke Skywalker? That would be funny to see. I have another question about Luke Skywalker. Why does he have a green lightsaber? Because in episode 4... Oh, that would be hilarious. And then he starts snapping at the fans. Listen, shut up. I'm not here to answer about questions about Star Wars. He makes some kid cry. Ardent, okay, I'll put Train and Peninsula on my list. You absolutely will not regret it. Now, Peninsula is not as good, but it's still pretty bonkers. Ardent, nah, I'd pester him over Darth Jar Jar. It'd be funnier if it was a little kid, though, wouldn't it? A little kid just pestering him to death. Man, that would be hilarious. It'd be like that SNL, before it was completely unfunny, had William Shatner on, and had Shatner do a scene like that where he just chastises the fans. It's so funny. Let's see. What else? Jamie Lee Curtis is prepping to get out of Hollywood after seeing her parents rejected at a certain age. Oh my God. How much are you worth? I mean, she's got to be worth a good bunch of money. Place your bets. You don't get the curse. You don't get the complain, Jamie Lee, if you're worth over, I'm going to say 10 million. And you're probably worth a good 50 million. Yeah, 60 million. I think I looked this up recently for some reason. $60 million. Imagine complaining about anything and having that kind of money. Ardent, Darth Jar Jar. Remember what they took from us. I did a piece on the Jedi Shia's G, based on Shaggy, the other day. Clint, a live-action Death Note could be fun. Ardent, Clint, didn't they make that already? Yeah, I was just about to say. About the time they did Cowboy Bebop and the other anime flick live action. I'm almost sure they did a live-action Death Note. Let's see. Yeah, there it is there. 2017. Clint, live action Death Note. Clint Miller, yes, they did. My bad. No worries. No worries. Perhaps you have not seen it. In which case, now you can. All right, moving on. We did this. We did this. Bounding in the comics. What did they say about the Fantastic Four? As easy as taking a baby from Galactus? Ha ha ha. Yeah. Deadline. More on Comic-Con, including Peacemaker Season 2 trailer. I so don't care about that show. Daily Show future. Oh, and was it this week or last week Colbert got fired? I guess it was last week. But now they're worried about everybody getting fired. I mean, boo-hoo. Again, all these guys are worth a fortune. They're all going to keep working. Donald Trump repeats false claim Beyonce was paid $11 million to endorse Kamala Harris, calls to prosecute singer Oprah and Al Sharpton. She may not have been paid $11 million, but it may have cost $11 million to get her there between her various entourage or whatever security concerns, whatever performance things she needed. Clint, it's the gangrenous giggler lurking in the bushes distracting me. Ha! Ha! Let's see. Okay. Oh, hi. Bollywood hit Sayayara find love at the specialty box office. Clint Miller, wish he'd shut up. Well, he never shuts up. Dan Aykroyd reveals why he missed SNL 50 special. I'm a fan of the show. So, Aykroyd claimed he stayed home to watch the show on TV. I kind of don't believe him. I think he kind of sensed that it was going to be sort of pathetic, and he's just being nice. He doesn't want to say, like, I didn't want to do it. But, yeah, I mean, if you can't get Dan Aykroyd to come to the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live, like, it's kind of weird to me. This show, It, Welcome to Derry, a prequel to the It movies. This is the most utterly insane. This is like the prequel to Pet Sematary. Like, why are you doing this? Who the hell needs this? It's like, you got a million guys writing horror books that you could, all you need to do is say to, hey, Stephen King, how'd you like another $40 million? Oh, okay, great. What we want you to do is endorse a show called Stephen King Presents. And each week, you will present another horror thing. Okay? That's it. You do a little intro, and then we do some other guy writes the horror thing. And then, if you want to do one, fine. If not, the other guys will do it. That's it. You pay them a gazillion dollars, and you could still do a show. Still give them a piece of the money if you want, and then, you'll have new stuff to do. How hard is this to figure out? Clint Miller, is Aykroyd based in some sense? I don't think so. I think he just didn't want to do it. I think he took one look at the lineup and said, why am I going to do this? Like, what does he get out of it, really? The show isn't what it was. I think he's just being nice. I don't think he wants to, come down on the show or anything. He's just trying to, like, deflect and say, oh, I want to stay home and watch it. I don't believe that. Maybe he doesn't want to show up and, they'll have footage of him when he was young and he'll look very old by comparison. Although he wouldn't look as old as Jack Nicholson was there. Holy crap. Jack Nicholson was there for some reason. He's losing it, and they trotted him out for some bizarre reason. But I can understand why Aykroyd wouldn't want to come. Like, because they'd ask him to perform. Maybe he's getting too old to perform. I mean, he's up there. How old is Dan Aykroyd? Let's find out. Place your bets. I'm going to say 70, I don't know, 5? Born in 52. Where does that put him at? 48 plus 25, 73. So that's pretty close. Let's see, what's he working on these days? Anything? Ghostbusters Frozen Empire was the last thing he was in. He's working on a series of Blues Brothers. I think it's a cartoon. They're going to do a Blues Brothers cartoon and then a Ghostbusters Ecto Force TV series. They both sound no bueno to me. Look at his creds. Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters. What's this? Ghostbusters of Long Beach? Crazy. I guess he doesn't want to do anything new. Or maybe the studio won't green... Oh my god, it's nothing but Ghostbusters on this list. Yeah, here he was on Saturday Night Live Best of Steve Martin. But I don't even know if he was on the show. He just... Probably clips of him. Let's see. Here's the Blues Brothers animated series from 1997. I don't even remember that. Extreme Ghostbusters. Blues Brothers 2000. I mean, Aykroyd's kind of been doing the same shtick. I mean, the last kind of serious big movie he was in was a Dragnet movie. I think he was in it with Tom Hanks, if I'm not mistaken, which he wrote. So I guess he's having trouble getting work at this point. Got to fall back on Ghostbusters. Ardent, a Blues Brothers cartoon. It could work if they get the guys who wrote Sam and Max Freelance Police. That was a great cartoon. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of over. Blues Brothers had its moment in the sun. I mean, at this point, I kind of wish they dropped Ghostbusters before they ruin that. It feels like they're just going to ruin that. Where the hell was I? Let's see. All right, moving on to Bleeding Fool. Faith in the Final Frontier. Star Trek Strange New Worlds embraces Christianity. Yeah, this happened a little while ago. So, there was a scene in Star Trek Strange New Worlds where the Captain Pike says the Lord's Prayer. So, not to fall back into complaining about Star Trek, but that just feels like a total like, oh, we're gonna throw the MAGA people a bone to show them how compassionate and wonderful we are. We'll have Captain Pike say the Lord's Prayer, and everybody will talk about it, and then they'll all come back, running back to the show, thinking it's religious. And then we'll make fun of religion some more. I don't know, man. It just sounds like total nothing. Sounds like they'll do anything to get people to watch that show. I think it should just be canceled. They're talking about doing a Booster Gold show. Someone suggested Glenn Powell as Booster Gold. He looks almost exactly like Booster Gold. He would be perfect for it, but he's probably too big of a star to be on a HBO TV show. I would think like that. So I doubt he would take that role. From the rap, nothing. Black Sabbath bassist remembers Ozzy Osbourne not as a feral wild man, but the Prince of Laughter. Oh, that's nice. That's a nice thing to say. Geezer Butler. What a name. So, that's good. It's nice when people say nice things, you know, after someone dies. Like Bob Saget. Man, everybody loved him. Cosmic Book News. Not a lot of new news on these other sites, but I got some more tabs. So, Cosmic Book News kind of liked it. The Fantastic Four. Five Nights at Freddy 2 trailer dropped. It's coming out in December for some reason. Looks about as good as the first one. I didn't watch it, but looks okay. I would greenlight it. It was popular. More on Hulk Hogan. Oh, here you go. Batman as a Tika trailer. Yeah, this is stupid. This is just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. So, it's going to be Batman as an Aztec warrior fighting against the evil Spanish conquistadors who are somehow going to be Batman villains. So there's Two-Face. And you can see Batman's using a traditional Aztec club that has razor sharp obsidian pieces in it. So it has the Joker, Two-Face, and Batman, but as Aztecs and Spanish conquistadors. Ardent, Geezer's good people. One of my cousins met him in Toronto years ago and couldn't say enough about how nice he was to talk to. Beyond our turd Batman, there's also a Catwoman. Yeah, I just don't think it looks good. Ardent, I tore into this in my last few videos. I didn't even review the trailer. I just think it's like stupid. Like, why would you even do this? I mean, I understood why they did it in the comics, right? So for a while, DC, and I was buying comics when this came out. This is like a long time ago. It had to be like 20 years ago. They were just putting out Elseworlds. So they had one when Batman was a cowboy. So he was like the Lone Ranger. That was pretty good. They had Gotham by Gaslight. That's when he's like Sherlock Holmes and Batman combined, and he has to stop Jack the Ripper. And then they had a follow-up where it was him versus Dracula. That was pretty good. And they had one, Batman meets Houdini. That was kind of cool. They had another one. I believe it was, what's his face? Drew and wrote it. Howard Chaykin wrote one where Batman's like Howard Hughes. That was pretty cool because it kind of changed the whole tenor of the comic, and it was really cool. So I guess that was like in the 30s. So yeah, they did a bunch of them that were kind of neat. This one kind of just doesn't work. They did another one that didn't work was like they did like Crusader Batman, where he was an actual knight. Ardent, wait, this is based on a comic? Yes, it is. A graphic novel, like a one-shot deal. Red Rain, Speeding Bullets, and Darkest Night. Yeah, these are all like one-shot Elseworld stories, they call them. You know, in DC, they used to call them fantasy stories, and they used to be in the annuals. But they stopped doing annuals, so then they started doing these prestige formats. So like the annuals were like an extra thick comic. You know, back in the day when comics were about $1.99, they would charge $2.99 for like a thick comic. Would be like 64 pages. Not a bad deal. It would have a story like this and like 3 other stories and maybe some errata about the character that was cool. And the annuals were often used as crossovers or a chance to do a different kind of story, or to unload some of the inventory stories they had sitting just collecting dust in the office. But then they just cut back and back and back, and then they decided, well, we can make more money if we put this in a prestige format with a nice cover, and then charge $6.99 or $7.99 or $8.99. I mean, now I don't even know what they would charge for this. Just too much in my view. It's not even that. How many times can you do another variation on Batman? They did Crusader Batman. They did this Batman. It was just like, okay, we got to put the horns on him somehow, or the ears on him somehow. Like, it doesn't make any sense. There's a Chinese, I know for a fact, a Japanese and a Chinese character they could take from their myths that has a bat connection. That would kind of work, but like, how many versions of this? I mean, like, it's kind of interesting once or twice, but after a while it just becomes boring. It's just like, how many times can you do this? So I think it's dumb. I of all the ones to pick, and why they picked it. They picked this one not because it worked the best in terms of the story, not because it was the biggest seller, but because this is fighting against colonialization. Say it with me, everybody. We're fighting against the colonizers, who are bad people. So this is the delivery system for the wokest possible message they could find, right? So you had, probably were sitting in the offices with all the comics I just mentioned, like, oh, which ones do we do? Well, do we have any that star a trans Batman? No, I can't find any. I looked. No trans Batman? That would have been the first one I would have done. I know, right? How about gay Batman? Well, he's already kind of gay. We've already implied that in the comics many times. And we can't just make him gay. The corporate guys won't like it. Okay. Which one has the most minorities in it? What about Aztec Batman? They're minorities, aren't they? I think so. And that was my little play. Why I can't get anything good to watch on HBO Max. Ardent, LOL, this is as bad as a choice of hero as the Woman King. Oh, right. Yeah, I remember that. Defending ritual murder and slavery. Good gods. None of these imbeciles have the slightest idea of what an aspirational hero is. Yeah, and I don't think they care. They shouldn't be making creative decisions. But now they have so much material. I mean, they're just going through the archives and picking the wokest stuff. So, imagine passing Gotham by Gaslight, a Victorian era story where Batman is Sherlock Holmes fighting Jack the Ripper, for this. So that is my feelings on this. I'm not going to watch it. I don't care. I don't care in the slightest about this. Who cares? Who the F cares? I don't know why people are even talking about it. Ardent, I think they are intentionally destroying things they think straight men love. Oh, that's part of it too, 100%. I mean, they did that to the Punisher, but then they were forced to bring him back. Now they're trying to revive the Punisher. I don't know if it's even going to work. They may have destroyed that IP, but we'll see. They're bringing the Punisher in the movies back. But part of it is, I think, they have this, it's the corporate stuff, because the corporate guys control everything, and they're making these creative decisions. It's too much. Yes, they have to make some decisions that greatly impact the creative stuff. So, for instance, I wouldn't approve of it, but back in the Bush era, after 9/11, they were going to do the Hulk. I guess it was 2003 or 2002. I don't remember. It was pretty close to 9/11. And they basically said, we don't want the Hulk killing American soldiers in the movie. Now, I understand why they made that decision. I understand why corporate would lay down the law. But I wouldn't have approved of that. I would have said, well, we had to do a different movie then. You know, we had to change gears here because that's what the Hulk basically does. And most of his run, he throws tanks and yells at the soldiers, puny humans. If you want to do the Hulk, instead they end up with some, I don't know, whatever that Hulk movie was. I think that's the one. Doesn't he fight the giant radioactive dogs in that one instead of tanks? Anyhow, but you can't make, you know, real creative decisions. And certainly, if you're a corporate guy making a decision, well, you should be making it based on the popularity of the comic at least. You know, you should have looked at all the comics and said, well, which one's the most popular? And then pick that, because that's obviously probably going to be the best one, and it's probably going to do the best on your channel. But if you do have a lot of women with an agenda, or men with an agenda, probably women, but some men, yeah, it's not going to work. But that's woke. I mean, that's all the woke stuff. And now we're probably going to be getting it from the other side, and we are sort of getting it from the other side soon. I think the pushback from South Park is from the other side now. It's like, it's no big deal, bro. Get past it. It's South Park. You know, just ignore it. They're making fun of Trump. So what? I made fun of Trump. So what? He has a sense of humor. The thing about making fun of somebody is you got to have a proper target. Trump's the president. He's a proper target for comedy because he's the president. And you could choose to be mean, or you could choose to be nice, or kind of like, oh, you know, do a joke because he's so awesome, or do a joke because he's petty and annoying sometimes. Everybody gets sick of everybody eventually. I mean, so what? The smart thing to do is just go, oh, okay, yeah, South Park, and then just move on, and then nobody pays attention to it. Ardent, a good strategy for pop culture adaptations. Corporate chooses the character, the creatives choose the script. Yeah, something like that. Made fun of Trump in the same breath I called him the best president of my lifetime. This was the first term. Yeah, I mean, I like Trump. I voted for him. You know, but I made fun of him. I especially made fun of him when he was running for president. I think that was 2012. I think that was the test run in 2012. That was during the whole Obama birth certificate thing, I think, which he quickly dropped because it wasn't really a workable way to get at Obama. He was too popular. Ardent, I'm salty he hasn't invaded Canada yet. Well, he's trying not to invade places, I think, but we'll see what happens. He just apparently forced Thailand and Cambodia into a peace deal, maybe? A partial ceasefire, at least. Fantastic Four box office dips 42% on Saturday, showing signs of a front-loading and diminishing MCU momentum. Oh, great, I got the hiccups. We'll see. I mean, you can't really tell until the second week, I think. A dip on Saturday. What does that mean? What does that mean? It's July. It's still the summer. You know, there's a lot of factors in there. I know that in South Jersey, as I've said, during the summer, people go to the Jersey Shore. So the move is you go down to the shore for a week, right? You hit the beach. You go to the boardwalk. On one of those days, it's going to rain. Or if it doesn't, on one of those days, after going, you know, maybe one day you go to Atlantic City and gamble, you go to restaurants, but one of those days you just want to relax, right? And a lot of people like to relax with a movie. So, you know, for people who have been working all year and almost never see movies, or just like to get out of the house and do something else fun, like going to a movie in the summer is like a low energy thing you could just do. You'll just sit there and eat snacks and watch a stupid movie. So and it's just sort of a low bar. You're just gonna watch whatever's popular, whatever big popcorn movie you can find. So that to me, at least in the Jersey Shore, would be greatly impacted by the weather. So you're definitely going to do that on a day it rains because there's not going to be much to do in a Jersey Shore town. You're not going to go on the boardwalk in the rain because it's mostly outside. Yes, the stuff to do on the boardwalk's inside, but to get there you have to walk to it. So you don't want to walk in the rain. So it's easier to drive to a movie theater and just go see a movie or something. Now a lot of people just stay in and play cards or whatever, but going to a movie, that's a thing to do. It's just one of the things you could do now. So it could just be on Saturday, the weather was so nice, a lot of people didn't go to the movies. They're doing their vacation thing, and the movies just weren't on their radar. More likely, though, I think not as many people know Fantastic Four as they do Superman. It's just not even a contest. The world knows Superman. Most Americans probably have heard of the Fantastic Four, I would think. A good portion of them, at least. Overseas, I don't know. I mean, they've maybe heard of the movie if they watch American films. The comic? Yeah, if they're a comic geek. And there are comic geeks overseas, but they're even fewer in number, and at least for superhero comics, than in America in a lot of cases. Like Japan, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if comic fans in Japan had barely heard of the Fantastic Four because they just have all their own comics. So this doesn't mean much, I think. Next week will mean a lot. If this thing drops like a rock, below 60% or more, it's done. It's cooked. And Superman will reign supreme. If it drops by less than 54%, well, then it's doing better than Superman. If it's 55 to 53, it's about in the same range, and it's doing exactly the same. So you could say it's superhero fatigue or whatever. It's just they're going to ride this out until there's no money in it. If it drops by, say, 32%, holy crap, it'll be a giant hit. People got to see this movie. I don't think it's going to be that way. It's likely to follow Superman. It's likely to be in that sort of 53 to 55% drop range. Now, I mean, I would have predicted a big drop initially, but it wasn't the dumpster fire. It's getting, most people are reluctantly saying, well, it's not the worst movie I ever saw. I mean, and you might say that's kind of backhanded, but these days the bar is pretty damn low. I mean, there's just so many terrible movies out. They're unwatchable. Man, I watched that Cold Mountain movie. Brutal. I'm just kidding, hon. That was a joke for my girlfriend if she's still watching. Exposed. Study shows Colbert Late Show as a one-sided liberal love fest that got the boot. Yes, I think we're all on board with that. Colbert is left. And it was stupid for him to do that because he put all his eggs in that basket, and now that everybody's sick of Democrats, goodbye to his show. He went too far. Ardent, I'm salty he hasn't invaded. Oh, I read that one already. Next, Trump demands prosecution of Kamala Harris, Beyonce, Oprah Winfrey over alleged 2024 campaign endorsement payments. Investigated. I don't care. It does sound like they spent a lot of money on that stuff. Rebecca Romaine reveals Avengers Doomsday script not done 3 months into filming despite Kevin Feige's claims. Are you effing kidding me? Come on, how could this movie be good? How can they shoot a good movie and they don't have a script 3 months in? How? How do they know what they're shooting? I don't understand how that could work at all. I get the scrapbooking, I guess, but I mean, apparently there were rumors they did a lot of reshoots on Fantastic Four, so maybe somebody can cobble this S together, but you're supposedly juggling like 60 plus characters in this movie. How's that even going to work? Sam Rogers is here. Hello, everyone. Hello, Sam. This sounds no bueno. I mean, this is what happened to Captain America. And that didn't seem to do too well. I don't know, man. That sounds no bueno. Let's see, is there anything else? Disneyland Abu Dhabi will be a Disneyland branded park, but not a Disney operated one. So they're going to license Disneyland to Abu Dhabi. I guess the Muslims are going to run it the Muslim way. Probably a smart move, because then at least Disney can say, well, we just licensed the park. It's not actually our park. Because they ain't going to have any gay stuff in their park, I'll tell you right now. Anything that even approaches gay will not be in the park at all. So they'll only have certain things in the park. It'd probably be funny to go there just to see how different it is from the regular Disneyland. All right, moving on. Sam Rogers, lately I've been thinking a microverse universe would be better than the gigantic extended universe that Marvel and DC have. Well, you could do it. Here's one way you could do it. One way you could do it is you animate the whole thing, right? And then you have no problem. You could recast people left and right. The characters stay the same and blah, blah, blah. This was a problem in the comics, however, right? You know, you read the comics for a few years, 5 years go by, characters don't change, or they try to give you the illusion of change, right? So, for instance, if you were around during the era where Spider-Man moved from Aunt May's house to, you know, Manhattan, where he worked for the Daily Bugle, you'd be like, oh, okay, I'm getting some progress here. But see, that progress stalls after a while, right? Because after he starts working for the Daily Bugle, like, what are you going to do next? You can't make him, like, editor-in-chief of the Daily Bugle. He's Spider-Man. He's got to do Spider-Man stuff. So, and after you make him lose his job and then get it back, or one of the things you never do is you don't marry the characters, right? They married Spider-Man. They married Superman just to boost their sales. Then what? Well, then you got to have them have kids, right? Okay, so you have them have a kid. Then what? Well, the kid's got to grow up. Well, then you're going to age the characters. See, you painted yourself into a corner with this. You keep the characters static. Like, a DC put out the Batman animated comic book series, right? So it had the look of the cartoon. It was great because it was basic Batman. Bruce Wayne is Batman. Alfred is his butler. Dick Grayson was already Nightwing when the series started, but he had this history. And then, what's the name? Tim Drake was the Robin. Kept it there. For the most part. That's what they should do. You set up the universe and keep it there. What has The Simpsons done for 30 plus years? Homer works at the nuclear power plant. Bart is 10. Lisa's 8. Maggie's a baby. Marge and Homer are both 38, 39. All the characters stay the same. For the most part. You know, until it got woke and then everybody had a problem with the voices and the rest is history. But you keep the characters where they are. You could play with them. You could do future episodes where Bart's older. You know, they just recently did a future episode where Marge dies. So you can play with those episodes. They're fun. You know, they used to do it all the time in comics. You could do the same thing in the TV shows and movies if you want. But when you actually try to maintain the universe, it doesn't work because they didn't maintain the universe. They didn't follow the comics the way they came out. The Fantastic Four is coming out last. They were one of the early early ones. Not the early ones, but one of them. So you can't make the universe work. So you got to make it work another way, and they're sort of backdooring it in. But the problem is these movies only come out once every 4 or 5 years. So eventually the actors age out, or they get better deals. Some of them die. You can't maintain the universe. Chris Evans doesn't want to play Captain America anymore. Part of it may be he doesn't want to do all that working out. But he's in the suit. They could probably get away with him not being like completely ripped, but he doesn't want to do it anymore. What are you going to do? I don't know. He doesn't. I guess he has enough money, or he's anti-American, or whatever you want to call him. I would just drive the money truck to his house and get him back. But that's another problem too. The stars cost more and more every movie you do. It doesn't matter the quality of the comic when the characters are cartoons. You still have them. You could just, fix it later. So what are you going to do? I would say you could do the animated thing, or you just recast them. And you do it like James Bond. If there's a new movie, there's a possibility you're going to recast everybody. That's all. And recast them and make no apologies. Don't even mention it. And pick up where the other movie left off. So people go, oh, these are the same guys. They won't care. I certainly wouldn't care. If you did, a Marvel movie cinematic universe, and you put out movies on a regular basis, and every once in a while the characters change, and you never made mention of it in the movie, unless they were wildly inappropriate casting decisions, I wouldn't care. I didn't care when you did it in Batman. I just didn't go see the movies with certain Batman in it. I didn't want to see that. I sort of tolerated Michael Keaton. He was okay. I didn't watch the ones with Val Kilmer, George Clooney. Was that it after that? I think so. And then when Christian Bale came back, I would have been like, if you had to recast Jim Gordon in the middle of the Christian Bale movies, who cares? But they don't do that anymore. So until they do that again, I mean, you're always going to have this problem. How many Batman? There's been a lot of Batmans. You've recasted them, but you also run the risk that people won't like the guy you picked. Like, in other words, if you pick Pedro Pascal for Batman, a lot of people will go, oh, F no, I'm not seeing that. They're thinking of him for Indiana Jones, so goes the rumor, but it's usually the first recast that's the hardest, because you got an image in your mind of the first guy who played him, but and there's always going to be comparisons, but if you put that into the plan and you keep the characters consistent, a lot of people won't care. The story's good, most people don't care. There's a lot of things that people care about in a movie, okay? If you have a good story, most of the other things are forgivable. You could forgive a little bad acting, a little, not a lot. You could forgive not the best special effects. You could forgive an annoying soundtrack. You could forgive so much if you have a good story. But if you have a bad story, then then most people are going the other way. I mean, look at the criticism of Fantastic Four. It looks good, but that's because the story's not very good, in my opinion. If the story's excellent, you could forgive almost anything. I mean, there are limits. No matter how good the story was in the previous Fantastic Four movie, when they made Galactus a evil black gas, that was unforgivable. That was a stupid change. Everybody should have been fired. But, this time they did a good Galactus. They did, they did something that was cool. The cast is good, I hear, but mostly miscast in their particular roles. The story sounds kind of mid. But it's kind of better than mid only because you had Jack Kirby's story that you based it on. So, I don't know what you're going to do. Part of this stuff just doesn't translate, it'll never be as good as the original. You know? There are ways to make it good, but it would require the studio execs to have faith in the actual material. Like if I had a studio exec who came to me and said, Mr. DiGerolamo, I've read every book of the Pineys, and I think they're the most wonderful books I've ever read. Please let me make your vision. I'd be over the moon with that guy, right? Because and if I'd have to talk to him to see if he actually read the books and he wasn't just like spinning me up, but you know, I'd be like over the moon, because that would sound to me like a guy who would really want to make what I wrote. But, you know, if you get a guy who just starts waving around his checkbook, it's not even his checkbook, it's the studio's. And as I did with another one of my projects, a guy was like saying, oh yeah, we'd like to develop this, and we'd like to buy it from you. And they made an offer, and I thought it was just too low. And then it turned out they weren't even going to give me money up front. I was going to have to wait for that money. I was like, F you. So it kind of depends, but this stuff, it's really hard to do. It's just hard to do. But you need a visionary, a vision. You know, for all Lucas's faults, I have to give him credit. He had a vision. Now, some of that vision he copped from other sources, but, you know, he had a vision. And then when he did the prequels, he had another vision, which I didn't like, but I respect him for doing it. I don't respect him when he just sold the whole damn thing and then expected it to somehow work out. Now, maybe, I mean, it was years later. They probably spent years glad handling him, telling him, no, George, we're going to do good by you. We're going to make great movies. It's going to be great. We need younger guys, though. You don't want this headache. Come on, let us do it. And, you know, we got Kathleen Kennedy is at Lucasfilm. She'll make sure it comes out great. How'd that work out? Ardent, Disney Abu Dhabi, no Goofy, no Pluto. Iman Donald, maybe. Sam Rogers, microverse, like 3 to 7 characters. Maybe. I mean, that's part of the reason I think Fantastic Four is doing well. And that's what a lot of people have said. Like, it doesn't have the baggage of the other movies. Sam Rogers, Ned Flanders' wife, did die. That's true. But the only reason she died is because I believe the actress who played Ned Flanders' wife, if I'm quoting the story correctly, she lived out of state and would fly in every time to do a season of the show. Because you got to understand, they'll write all these scripts and then record all the voices in a few weeks, and then it'll spend, you know, a couple of years editing or whatever. But apparently she was, the rumor was she was pushing for more money or to be reimbursed for plane trips, or maybe she just didn't want to make them anymore. I don't know. So that may have had something to do with it. I don't know that for sure. Sam Rogers, they will use the Pines to push social change. No, sorry, I don't know how to spell. No, that was probably a correction from the they probably changed the Pineys to the Pines. Yeah, they might push it. That would be something else I wouldn't like. You know, the message in the Pineys is family. It's more about family. You know, these characters stay together because they're all related, and they look out for each other because they're family. That's that's like a broad overall message, but there's other messages within it. Ardent, OG Star Wars vision, prequels, hallucination. Are Dynamite comics worth looking at? I've seen a few titles, but never read any of them. Sometimes they are. They once in a while they do an awesome crossover. They did like Deadman versus Ash and whatnot. They were awesome. All right, I'm going to have to wrap this up. And we're about 9:55. So let me jump to... Had a couple other tabs, but I'm going to jump to Breitbart. So, biggest ever trade agreement with EU? 15% tariffs on EU imports. EU to buy $750 billion in U.S. energy. Hooray. Ardent, Deadman, the DC character? No, Deadman, not Deadman, what was it? Liam Neeson's character. Oh, what the hell is the character's name? Is it Deadman? Maybe I'm thinking of a different character. Oh, here he is. What character am I thinking of? Darkman. Thank you. Thank you. Which comic book, Sam Rogers, which comic book company owns The Shadow? I'm not sure who owns them. Ask Razor Fist. I bet he knows. Arnett, LOL, I bet Mark Carney is eating his hat. Trudeau's anti-energy policies and Darkman. Yes, thank you. Ardent, policies and Carney are trying to drag us into the EU. Oh, Jesus. Resist. Resist. Be part of the resistance. All right, real quick, and then I'm going to wrap. Ick review. Director Joseph Kahn delivers thriller ride horror comedy of the summer. That did look mildly cool. I'm not sure if it was supposed to be funny when I looked at it. Ardent, I think The Shadow is public domain. Oh, I don't think so. Let's see. I'll ask the AI. I think we're a few years away from that. No. Oh, 2027 though. 2027, I promise you. It's not far away. I promise you Razor Fist will be on that. Razor Fist will 100% do his own Shadow comic. And book and whatever. That, yeah. Fantastic Four review. Goodbye woke tardedry as MCU finally returns to normal. So John Nolte liked it. He normally doesn't like much. And I didn't hear a lot of woke things about it other than the girl boss stuff. Ardent, Condé Nast and 2027. Yes, that there's going to be a flurry of new stuff. Sam Rogers, wow, 2027. I know, right? I think Superman's after that. South Park creators clashed with Comedy Central to show Trump's penis in scenes of him begging for Satan for sex. Get over it for last time. And Michael Caine laments starving children in Gaza. Don't. It's too late for you to be political, Michael Caine. You're retired. Just stay out of it, man. And Lin-Manuel Miranda to turn 10th anniversary of Hamilton into illegal immigration fundraiser. Even Alexander Hamilton would be spinning in his grave on that one, dude. All right. And then more about the Hulkster's demise. All right. I'm going to wrap it up here because it's 10 o'clock. What's coming up for me? What have we learned today? That's a good question. But what's coming up? I'm doing a thing in Brick tomorrow at 2. And then on Friday, I'm doing a men's club, which is interesting. I've never done a men's club. They're giving me a free breakfast and everything, so that should be fun. It's the Osprey Men's Club. That's on the coast of Jersey somewhere. At this cool looking diner that I've never been to, so I'm kind of psyched. And then next Tuesday, which I'm really psyched about. I'm going back to LBI at the LBI book swap where I normally sell like 50 to 70 books. So I'm totally stoked for that. I need a big sale like that. Ardent, can't you charge people with treason for that shite Lin-Manuel Miranda's talking about? Did you do the Sydney Sweeney's jeans are mid-century Germany thing? Oh, right. Let's do that really quick. So I'm surprised I didn't come across a ad or an article, but everything gets pushed off the front page so quickly these days. Yeah, can't find it. Apparently, there was a bunch of backlash to Sydney Sweeney doing a jeans ad. So she was doing a jeans ad and for American Eagle, and then a bunch of woke tards on Twitter were talking about how it's part of I don't know, white supremacy or whatever. So it's stupid as always. And Sydney Sweeney still looking hot in the jeans. She's the tagline was something like Sydney Sweeney has good genes. Get it? Arden, today I learned I need to watch Train to Busan and Peninsula. Hot chicks are back. And was that a fish? No, it was not. It was a woman who looked like she got too much cosmetic surgery. Yeah, no Sydney Sweeney on the New York Post. Still talking about Malcolm Jamal Warner, but no Sydney Sweeney. So, I'm surprised. Sam Rogers, hot women's are, I won't say it, bad guys from Germany. Yeah, basically they were saying that. They were saying like somehow Sydney Sweeney's blonde hair and good looks, because she's so, everybody likes her because she's super hot. They somehow tied that into bad guys from Germany. Sam Rogers, is it because she's blonde with blue eyes? Yeah, kinda. Ardent, Sam Rogers, at Sam Rogers, no, they're just an N-word dog whistle. Not that N-word, the other one. No, the other one. Ha. Yeah, it's just, they're just woke idiots complaining on Reddit, I assume. And on X. So, oh man. I got to go to the bathroom, and I got to answer this text, so I got to go. Thank you all for tuning in. It's always a pleasure. Ardent, some D-heads on Twixter thought it was an endorsement of eugenics, morons. Yeah. That was it right there. Ardent's got it. So next week, I think I'm free and clear. Yeah, free and clear on the weekend. So we'll definitely be doing a live stream again. So come back. Please give me a vote up because YouTube has always changed all its rules. So vote me up in the comments and whatnot. Ardent, later taters. See you next week. See you next week, Ardent. See you all next week. Thanks for stopping in. Sam Rogers, Clint Miller, JEC, all the rest. Ardent says, follow me for stuff. Follow me for stuff, and we'll see you in the next one. Sam Rogers, Sydney Sweeney has good genes. You have to be a radically minded person